Yo guys, what's up? We are watching Brawl Stars esports. Esports देख रहे हैं हम क्योंकि today it's ZETA Divisions match. We have missed one match actually, but never mind. They are still ZETA 0 is still on to the semi-finals, and the ZETA Division 1 is still having match to go. So yeah, we are on time actually, not that much late. Meanwhile, do make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're new here. Let's go. Hello Raj Indian Gaming, what's up? हाँ बेटा मौज कर दी ऐसा क्या?
High and dry. We see Wahuchi has one more gadget left too. He's gonna have to spend it wisely as Rising Sun Esports inch closer to that final gen they need.
गेम की वॉइस आ रही है?
Super is gonna be on
मेरे को
and
चेक करना पड़ेगा.
as a last measure if really he's scared of going down, because once you go forms it is very challenging to get back to. It takes quite a while and you really just don't have the range to contest the mid anymore. But they are able to tie things up gem-wise. 10 on each side. Let's see who initiates the next countdown. It's going to be Aaron. He takes quite a bit of control if he can pick up another gem, which should be spawning relatively soon. Could be the winning one, as now it is 12 to 10, and they need to pick up on either this 2 or the squeak. But with 3 seconds left, that should not be coming true. The jump in. Oh my goodness, that's going to be the kill.
Well, we'll see.
Oh भाई, okay.
Clearing 10 gems.
Oh no, Rising Sun Esports.
All up. Rising Sun Esports has this countdown. That was very opportune. Ooh, look at the spins too. Molneko's not happy about that one. Probably thinking internally, we should have had that. Meow did what he could and interrupted just at the right moment.
Oh, very close. 400 health.
Get the takedown. That would have been a countdown interruption for sure, actually. A little replay here. Look how close this was. Meow carrying 15 gems. Dude is trying to make it happen, and he came so close to resetting that countdown there towards the end. This is weird because we've seen two completely separate sides from Rising Sun Esports over the course of that last game even. Firstly, we saw Aaron playing so carefully that some gems that were definitely his went to the side of RIG South. And then we see them staying wide open for RIG South.
Hello Manu Brawl Stars, what's up?
At the end, just because they know that
मैंने
probably take them all back.
RS लिया था.
If Rising Sun
लेकिन क्यों?
Esports picks one or the other.
Because Rising Sun Esports
They
पिछला परफॉर्मेंस देखा जाए तो they are actually very good with that.
is picking up something successful at least.
Oh भाई बहुत लो है.
Yeah,
Isu.
but the super is
Oh,
pumped
boy.
now, and as I mentioned earlier, it's going to take a minute
That was
to
close.
his original state. The bomb
ज़्यादा अच्छी है.
Yes.
पता नहीं भाई, लेकिन मैंने अभी तक जो देखा है उसमें ज़्यादातर RS तो नहीं, लेकिन Rising Sun Esports
cannon that super
ज़्यादातर जीती है.
use as last resort, either to get out of a sticky situation or to, you know, interrupt
2 is very low.
earlier. But there's a lot of risk to it, because if you end up going down, it's all the gems
भाई
you're
पैनी को इतना ज़्यादा वो कर दिया है.
gem-wise. So
कितना बफ मिल गया है जी. पैनी तो भाई अभी ऊपर ही चल रही है.
things a bit on the right side and
कैरेक्टर्स तो ओपी हैं, बट
control back.
अरे RS मतलब Rising Sun Esports. आज तो RS E हो गया ना. रिग साउथ मतलब RS हो गया.
And despite Bonnie being extremely
दे देखो
right now,
Rising Sun Esports. Esports अलग से मेंशन है, लेकिन वहीं अगर रिग साउथ की बात करें तो R और S.
these 8 gems just needs to pick up one more. Aaron
अगर RS बोलोगे तो सबसे पहले तो Rising Sun थोड़ी आएगा.
almost goes right into one of Squeak's shots to be taken down himself, but the verdict is there. Rig South have lost control of mid, and it's going to be almost
ओ भाई पैनी भाई.
at this point. Rising Sun Esports only need 2 gems to start a countdown. One more onto that, because they need to keep that countdown as they retreat. Aaron's going to stay extremely aggro while these gems spawn. Definitely a smart play. Molneko approaches on the right side. Nope, this is Aaron's.
Oh, GG's.
and Aaron gets a takedown. Bunch of gems waiting for him at mid to start this countdown.
Bhago! Very nice too.
I like this a lot.
Keep it up.
Why play it down in the
Indian name देखो RSN.
if you can have that much extra
अच्छा Indian name का बोल रहे हो? हाँ तो ठीक है.
pick up those gems on the
Oh भाई.
way, create so much space.
Still they are having 12 gems.
RIG
ये dancing वाले लोग इधर भी आ गए हैं e-sports में भी.
was a close opening.
भाई साहब.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I expected this to probably be even more.
ये dancing वाले लोग इधर भी आ गए हैं.
Esports, RIG
पहले तो गेम में ही बस लोग डांस करते थे, अब e-sports में भी डांस करने लगे.
take it in the end, and that's set number 1 secured.
हाँ.
Well, let's talk game number 1.
चलो कोई नहीं, बढ़िया है
Sun
जो भी है.
allowing things to get close, and I think out of a little bit of being pretty relaxed, knowing that no matter what, even if they got countdown interrupted on defense, a little negligence in that regard, but they got the win in the end. So I mean, no complaints here. It's really up to Rising Sun Esports whether they want to win or not, because they were holding the reins during this last match. And come game number 2, Rig South actually pulled back a lot more control. The Stu mid just proved to be so powerful on this map. And we also saw great use of the gadgets by Stu and Tara. They were extended over the course of the entire game and only used at the most opportune moments. Take a look at the stats too, and we can see actually Rig South did a great job of getting kills. 14 for Meow. I want to believe it's a mistake, because that just seems crazy.
Yeah, it certainly does. That's a lot of kills. Not entirely sure. I mean, he was playing the Bonnie, but here's the thing with the Bonnie. Even though he was doing a really good job overall, once they kind of got out of that control in the mid, or when they had to go for the interruption, it's just so challenging, you know, because you need to commit so heavily or under commit. And I feel like finding the right balance is really what the challenge was here for RIG, and they couldn't just quite pinpoint it just yet. It was a close set, I have to say. This could very much have gone the other way around or be a 2-1. So I think that Golden Gulch coming up next for some knockout action could definitely be, you know, where RIG managed to push things to a final set. But yeah, some of those plays, you know, they needed a little bit less mistakes. But overall, I am impressed by the level they're bringing in, at least in that gem grab set.
Well, I'll tell you someone, as you can see on my cam, I'm at Goldarm Gulch right now. I'm just in a part of the map that you can't really see, but I've been spectating matches for a while now, and I can tell you that this map is not super consistent. This is one of the knockout maps that survived the last set of balance changes. Rip to the homie Flaring Phoenix, but bad respect to Open Zone. Still, or rather out in the open. Still, though, we'll see what the bans are. If they make this matchup a little more straightforward, we'll see Carl not escaping, or rather not being banned out, and this might be one of the situations where we didn't pick Carl is the reality. But the first pick is going to be Ryohi on the Bonnie, and that is a brawler that kind of fills a similar role to Carl. Can play aggro, can get great damage in close range, does well at long range too, but doesn't have as much flexibility as Carl when it comes to picking up some certain certain builds that he can go for with different gadgets and different star powers. But Rig South are already setting themselves up to counter out a Carl with picking up this Colette pick, or maybe they just pick it for number 3 and leave Rising Sun Esports without a proper counter.
I think that would be a very smart move, because not only is Colette pretty good against Carl, it's also a pretty good matchup against the Bonnie, because, you know, tons of HP at a range. Who deals better than a Colette with those sort of situations? They're actually going to be going for the Penny, which does, as you mentioned, leave open that Carl potentially still to be picked up by Rising Sun Esports. I like Penny. I like Colette. They're just kind of odd early picks for me on this map. I mean, I would say Colette more so than Penny, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that actually works out, as it is a brawler we're seeing more and more with that gotcha gadget. Just has incredible survivability, which in the later stages of the rounds can be very valuable. But yeah, we're gonna see a Troller show up on the side of Rising Sun as Sprout makes his appearance.
This draft is fascinating because Carl is at play in this draft. He's not been picked yet. He is not in the ban screen, but he's influenced every single one of these picks. And really the game right now is a game of chicken. Who's going to pick Carl and who is going to have pretty much everything to defend versus him? Rig South at the moment have the final pick. There's going to be the Piper, and I think this leaves him quite vulnerable to Carl, but we'll see if it does get picked by Rig South. With the last pick, there are not ample countering opportunities. Now, Aaron does have the ability to go with Auto Aimer if he so wishes, which is going to be decent, while Hochi doesn't really have much to deal with Carl, and Ryohi can win in close range if he supers upwards, but that leaves him open to everyone else. The big thing to consider is that Rig South have eliminated one of the biggest counters for Carl that's also viable versus other brawlers. 6th pick coming in just a second. Please be Carl. And it is.
It's just Carl.
This is going to go with it. And this is going to be quite a fascinating matchup. Who outbrained the other in the draft? On the surface, it looks like Rig South. Get this. But Rising Sun Esports might have an ace up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent draft here for RIG, but there is still, enough stuff, I would say, on Rising Sun side that they could deal with that Carl with this come from RIG. So I feel like this is fairly balanced, and seeing how close that previous set was, I would really not call this one too early, as we have more of a commitment on the left for Rising Sun, RIG going on the right. Sometimes you see some gambles as well where, teams will switch sides, but this is the more traditional setup in general.
Well, Dudas is on the bottom lane. He's going to get tapped by Ryohi once. Now, Wahochi approaches once more. Dudas does have the pretty much exact same range as Wahochi, and it's going to be leveraged to great success. Really fast takedown there onto Penny. Oh my gosh. And an even faster one onto Molneko. Dudas is all alone.
This will be annoying.
With the takedown, and Rising Sun Esports get
ये तो बड़ी जल्दी खत्म हो गया.
Look, we saw Carl doing well, but he's only a third of the equation. He just gets that bottom lane, and things have been played so well by Ryohi and Aaron, kind of alternating their attacks here at that mid diagonal.
Dude, not a single Piper shot missed so far. It feels like, it's gonna whip a couple now, but I just needed to, point it out for that to happen. Right now, positioning is just so much better on the side of Rising Sun. Those sprout walls as well, removing some of those bushes and keeping the visibility advantage to their side.
Oh my God, देख रहा.
So Dudu was just free to do kind of whatever, and is gonna help his team secure a double kill. Only Wahochi left alive, and this is gonna be a run for RIG.
GG's, but super lean charge.
Throughout this entire match, and with my eyes off Ryohi, I don't really know what gadget he's running, but we certainly didn't see an auto aimer there, and that could be a big mistake, because if that's the case, there's really no counterplay to Carl here besides denying a super maybe, and even then, he still has flying hook, he has a ton of damage that he can pump out in close range, and a ton of health that he can get great success too, but so far, Molneko is getting pummeled by Aaron at long range. Even more with that AoE shot, Dudas is going to have to switch lanes here.
Who's gonna win?
He looks to lurk in these bushes and potentially get
Guard is coming with the super.
the Carl pick. We'll see if they're able to do it here. Ryohi with that homemade recipe. Yep, he's not running auto aimer. He's super vulnerable right now. Dudas, if he charges up to full health, might be able to make something happen, but Wahochi needs to be taken down and distracted first.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, auto aimer is really a big deal in my opinion. It means that they need to really stick together and make sure that
Oh my.
DPS
GG.
burst through.
RS is coming back.
From Aaron. Meow is very
And he's one alone.
to the gas.
Nice.
The final kill from Ryohei, and that is going to be match point coming up here for Rising Sun. Looking good here, let's be honest, but again, quite close games, and that has been a reoccurring pattern here, that RIG, they're not far behind, they're just not able to, translate those rounds, those gems early in gem grab into an actual game being picked up.
And in some ways, it looked like Rig South did have kind of a winning plan. They had Carl, gadget active, ready to go in for a super, but he simply didn't use it towards the end of the last game. This time, Ryohi is, oh my gosh, has he not missed a shot? This is when he'll really be able to show us that he's like telepathically talented if he's able to hit Meow in the bushes. Okay, some educated guesses here. Those are going to be the first misses that he's had this game, but that has been the way that we've seen these games start off so far, Teddy. It's remarkable.
Oh my, very low, very low.
Nice grasp either. Ryohi barely even needs to move. This looks
Nice.
like the Rising Sun, as they're just one round away from taking themselves to the semis.
I mean, what do you do if you're RIG? You know, I mean, I'm thinking maybe it could be worth it to just kind of use a call gadget early on to gain some more space and make sure that Ryohei is just not free to roam around the mid as much as he is right now, because without auto aimer up close, he is gonna be in quite a bit of danger. But RIG, they've just
that was slow. Oh, GG's.
close, and Ryohei
Sniper
finds
shots.
Molneko
And one player down of RS. Rigs out.
space, and then the follow-up homemade recipe that finds the connection.
Once again. And definitely they are going to the semifinals. Because 1 versus 3.
Final round to be picked up here for Rising Sun to move onwards to the semi-finals. Meow
Oh my, good shot.
separating them from the semis.
Some spins, some pins coming out. Let me tell you one thing though, Rising Sun hasn't done their
Oh.
They don't have that new you can
GG's.
get, especially.
And they goes on to the semi-finals.
Congratulations to Rising Sun. Their third place on the leaderboard throughout the region, and they're looking to further cement that and even elevate that to newer heights, as they have earned their spot in the semis, taking down a new foe, but still respectable effort in the process. 2-0s across the board, but as we saw, some real stuff being shown from Rig in the process, and I don't think it's all over for these guys. I look forward to seeing them in newer monthly finals in later months, but for now, they don't really get to show what they're made of, and I think it's pretty clear that the pressure was immense, and also the mechanics from Rising Sun Esports are a bit too much to top at the moment.
Yeah, it looked really, really good from Rising Sun. I have to say, RNG impressed me, you know, especially considering that they don't have the most experience. Most of their players, actually, this is their first monthly final. I believe Meow has had some appearances in the past. So it is quite a big deal for me that they are able to, you know, perform so well despite the 4-0 in games. They got, you know, around in the first knockout game. They got a good amount of gems in total in Gem Grab, almost a bit of a clutch was that interrupt earlier, but just couldn't quite match the raw energy here from Rising Sun. I mean, 7 kills from Ryohei says a lot. He's been incredible on that Piper, and his teammates, you know, they were doing a really good job as well. And overall, I think this has been the case for most teams that have won their quarterfinals so far. It was kind of just an overall team diff, and Rising Sun Esports doesn't seem to be an exception here.
No doubt. And the people on the event platform has spoken as well. Ryohei is your MVP for this round, and I don't even need to spell it out for anyone. If you have eyes, then you saw it. If you had ears, then you heard us freaking out over it, because this guy can't miss. I wonder if he's ever tried to miss and has failed miserably, because maybe that's what was happening, but we just couldn't see behind the scenes, couldn't see what was happening on that screen. Jokes aside, very well done by Rising Sun, and they only compound their success from the previous months. Still, the struggle for these guys is whether they can take down some of the bigger teams in the region, the ones currently occupying the top 2 spots. We're talking ZETA 0 and ZETA 1. They're separated by 3 points. They're competing with each other, but really, Rising Sun is trying to carve out a spot for itself, and to do that, it's got to make it to the grand finals and get the first grand final win for themselves. That said, got to find a worthy opponent. ZETA Division 1's looking kind of scary. They're going to face off versus Verity Lian in order to take them down. But here are the ZETA Division 1 guys.
ZETA Division 1. Let's see who's gonna win.
Because these guys are some of the top brawlers in the world.
Yeah, I mean, incredible roster. The MSI champions as well, won the 2 first monthly finals of the year, lost the next 2 to their sister team, ZETA Division 0. So really, only ZETA beats ZETA so far in East Asia. And they are first right now in the seeding as well. It's only by a mere 3 points. So, you know, there might be some different outcomes at the end of the day, an even more important day for ZETA 0, to perform and just, you know, get those points locked in. Nothing worse could happen than getting knocked out in the quarterfinals here, which does seem quite unlikely considering how incredible they are.
And it's going to be pretty hard to fall from grace in their current position. That said, they have a terrifying opponent in form of Rising Sun, who's looking to take their spot, but that is not even where it starts. Verite Lien are also going to take a stab at the guys. Melticus, Blaze, Shu. We've seen Melticus before. Some of the other guys get familiar too, because once more, this has been the story all day long. And while a lot of these journeys might into the quarterfinals for this month, they can continue in the following months. These guys trying to carve out a name for themselves. You're in the same region as world champions, these crazy, cracked out mechanical, insane at drafting players, and you're still willing to step up to the plate, have that competitive spirit to try your hand at the monthly finals. And Verite Lien have earned their spot here. Question is, can they take at least one game off of ZETA 1? Because that in itself has proven to be one of the most difficult tasks, is just to get that ball rolling, just to get that bit of momentum and that bit of confidence that this is a matchup that you can win.
Yeah, this is a team that has made it to one monthly final this year. They actually made it all the way to semifinals, where guess who they met? It was ZETA Division.
Flip high 92% votes for ZETA 1 and only 8% for other team.
I don't think, at least from my recollection, that they won a single game. That
Nice.
is not the most surprising. Very in line with your guys' predictions at home as well. 92% of ZETA Division 1. It rarely gets more one-sided than that in the predictions, and I completely understand why. You know, as we said, you know, we have some world champions, we have some MSI champions, we have a bit of everything on their side, and they are an incredible team all around. A big challenge here for Verite Lien. But we have our bans already. It's going to be the Janet, the Crow, the Bonnie on the side of ZETA. VL going to be doubling down on the Bonnie, but also adding Squeak and Penny to the list. A first pick Carl on the side of Verite Lien, and then the Colette Ruffs combination on the side of ZETA Division 1.
I like the bans from ZETA Division 1. The thing is that Carl is not among those, but I think this is probably part of their strategy, because they insta-lock the Colette and they go for the Colonel Ruffs right after. It was very, very fast. You see how long it took Verite Lien to decide on the bow. Pretty solid brawler all around, but just compare that to how quickly ZETA Division 1 knew that they were going to get the Colette, they were going to get the Ruffs, because they knew that they were going to be facing a Carl. And kudos to Verite Lien for not faltering under the pressure and picking the brawler that they know is going to be the best, but they might be playing right into ZETA Division 1's trap, and also maybe just an experiment. This is the quarterfinals. ZETA Division 1 is simply on a different level. They can afford to experiment a little bit and also conceal their hand going forward. We see them get one of the most powerful combos in the game, Colonel Ruffs and Jean. We saw it earlier. We saw just how well it can work. On the side of Verite Lien, also good brawlers. Max is going to be very valuable, and so is Bo to break open some of the walls. But also ZETA Division 1, I think, are going to be pretty apt to break open some of these walls too. They don't want to give too much viability to, for instance, Carl or Bo on using that speed gear to get around and get better control.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty decent comp on both sides. Have to see if one clearly shows some more strength as we get into this set here. Already a bit of an HP advantage for ZETA. Starting to invest a lot of resources on that left hand side, getting dangerously close to the goal area, and that means for Kenji as well, he can line up some free shots, get closer to that pool, and well-placed pool, well-timed pool can go a long way and maybe even secure an early goal, as the positioning is looking just about right.
Oh, GG's.
Team White. Kenji.
Oh yeah, ZETA is an OPS.
Division 1, it takes them 45 seconds to find goal 1.
No funny business by ZETA Division 1. I saw ample RZM-style trick shots available there, and Kenji
Oh, nice job.
one of them, which just goes to show that these guys are ice in the veins at the moment. They're looking to get in.
Oh, that was
They're
close.
businessmen. They're just trying it to get the job done efficiently. And so far, they're going to take down Shu. Melticus could be up next. Blaze is going to get knocked back right before he uses his super, actually. Which is kind of a blunder. Setampo is going to get the kill, but he gets taken down.
GG!
And it doesn't
Easy peasy.
make that work. Crazy stuff. Moya Goku gets a
क्या बात है, क्या बात है.
really fast goal there.
बहुत बढ़िया.
That's the end of the game, man. This is simply Zeta Division 1 at work, and it's going to be tough to get them out of this sort of trance that they're probably in, as they have taken this victory so fast and sent us into game number 2.
Yeah, it's impressive, you know, and this is also one of the important factors that makes this team so great. It's like, obviously, this is a situation, you know, when you have that rough 1v1 interaction that you should be winning most of the time, because if you play it right, it's almost unstoppable. But you gotta play it right, and you know, Zeta Division 1 is one of those teams that is gonna be so incredibly consistent when it comes to those interactions. The tempo, great super onto Blaze as well, and potentially Goldirock coming up, as it is a 3 versus 1, and both exactly the
अरे भाई.
DPS here, nothing to
अपने चीज कुटाई कर दी भाई इन लोगों ने.
another early goal.
हाँ, मैंने जीटा वन लिया था. नोटी चलो माइनर खेलो, ये मत देखो. अरे जीटा डिवीजन का मैच है भाई, ऐसा कैसे छोड़ दें?
Longer, or if Zeta are just
एक ही तो टीम है. सॉरी, 2 टीम तो है जिसको हम देखते हैं. एक फ्री विन एजेंट्स और दूसरा जीटा डिवीजन.
but he's still standing.
The मैच क्या खतरनाक चल रहा है, देख रहे हो? कुटाई चल रही, कुटाई बिल्कुल.
There on some of the plays here, but that's really all we have to pick apart for this team is just the minor inconveniences that don't seem to have that large of an impact on the turnout of the match. But if Zeta Division 1 is facing Zeta Division 0, they can't really afford to make any of these mistakes. It's got to be a perfect game. It's guaranteed. Zeta 0 is going to play it perfectly from their side of things. We see Shu all sped up though on the right side, pass forward with the
Oh Jesus.
open goal here.
Oh, first goal.
And are able to get a goal, and now they're all tied up with Zeta 1.
जीटा फोड़ देती है.
Head to overtime. Zeta 1 doesn't have any supers just yet. But Kenji will start to push forward on the left side. No supers for Verite Lien either. It's an even game, but Verite Lien has actually backed up quite a lot.
GG's. He's very low. He's very low. He's very low.
Super again, opening on the left-hand side, but no timing just yet. To tempo though, pops a gadget.
Easy goal.
Very smooth double kill actually.
Nice one. Was close to Zeta 1.
Division 1.
Very easy.
Set number 1. A bit in this game from Verite Lien, but just not quite good enough, and that's just to make the cut.
2-0.
You know, Zeta Division 1.
Hey, maybe if this set had been a best of 5, which is not something that we have here in BSC, but if it had been, maybe we could have seen Verite Lien wisen up and actually get 2 goals off of Zeta Division 1, because we saw improvement from one game to the next. The game went a little slower. Verite Lien also got a goal. Things were looking good. Problem is that Zeta Division 1, they just do this well. They don't give you enough time to adapt to the situation. Even if you were able to play versus what strategy they're using right now, surely they got a backup plan just in case. They do their job.
मेरा तुक्का सही था.
One headed away, and second 2 coming along very quickly. But of course, the stats from both sides, I think, tell pretty much the full story. This is Zeta 1 domination.
Definitely so. I mean, you know, Verite Lien, they played a lot more defensively, and I think they did an alright job at that, considering they played so defensively and only got 4 kills in total. Finding a goal is admirable, but it was a bit of a clutch, you know, and doing that consistently enough in a best of 3 setting is incredibly challenging. And Zeta Division 1 just much better overall, able to get many more kills, get those respawn cycles as well, where they mess up with the respawn timers of their opponents, try to keep that man advantage, eventually a team wipe, and Zeta Division 1 can just secure those goals. They did so pretty much just I think 3 out of the 4 goals they got, besides that, you know, Ruff's 1v1 slight clutch. But we are going to be moving over to Hot Zone, so a very different story there. Hopefully, at least.
यहाँ तो party चल रही है, party.
It's going to be very, very important.
क्या खाया आज?
Competitive.
छोले चावल and छोले
As an
और
NA guy,
रोटी भी खा ली थी मैंने.
You're an EU guy, maybe
Yeah.
keep me in check here, but
छोले ही main थे आज character में.
maybe. Okay, let's gloss right over that and get into the bans. Yeah, but still, I mean, it's a possible pick. There are better ones out there, guys.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be one of them. I'm also looking out for some Bell, but we also got to be thinking about Leon. We got to be considering Stu here too. I think Gene could be a pretty powerful pick if he's
मैंने पराठे.
to like a couple other healers, maybe
Yeah.
Byron Pan
कल चिकन
is here too. And it
सही है भाई तुम्हारा.
Zeta Division 1 to somehow draft that, because in set 1, it really, if you gave Zeta 1 the comp that Verite Lian was running and said, hey, pick a good response to this, let's say it's a blind pick, then they'd probably draft exactly what they picked with second, third, sixth pick. And that is simply one of the talents that they possess. And they're also going to be going for the Leon this time. It could be a mistake if Verite
हाँ vegetarian हूँ या non vegetarian. मैं vegetarian and non vegetarian दोनों हूँ. मैं veg भी खाता हूँ और non veg भी.
it's going to be tough to top.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see the roughs again. One of the most
जो मिल जाए. हम भेदभाव नहीं करते किसी में.
ballers on the side of Zeta Division. Once again brought into the mix. I like it a fair bit. Very consistent, very good. Also nice to have with your Carl, because I mean obviously
मतलब omnivorous.
so
Yeah.
you're not going to be facing the Carl.
Yeah.
So that is usually a nice thing. I think this Carl pick can be a bit of a double-edged sword, because obviously Carl is very strong and it is good against low level
ये सही है. No भेदभाव. हाँ भाई क्यों भेदभाव करने का.
counters on the side of
वेजी खाना वेजीज का.
gonna go for a Leon. So
नॉन वेज खाना नॉन वेज खा लो. किसने रोका.
thing, a bit more of a countermeasure here. Gonna try to match that aggression, if not even top it, on the side of Veritilian.
Well, this is the ingenuity that we needed to see from Verite Lien. Now, Zeta Division 1, it's not going to be tough for them to find a response to this, but it's a little less likely that they'll be going for the Jean this time, and they'll go for the Colette. They've stuck with 2 of the 3 brawlers that they played in set number 1, and that could be not to reveal their hand, but also these are simply good brawlers. I think Zeta Division 1 expected Jean to be played on the enemy side and maybe considered a stew or something to get some good aggression and also be able to block out the Gene pull. In fact, Zeta Division 1, they all have capabilities to deal with Gene. Kenji gets countered out a little bit, which is why Verite Lien might have been expected to lean into that, but they will lean into the Leon this time, and hopefully that gets them some good capabilities on the back lines. The real struggle is going to be getting there in the first place. Down comes the lollipop drop. Could be good for Melty Kiss at mid. Setampo is somehow going to land some shots onto him too, despite Melty Kiss outranging him. And it just comes down to the good mechanics, the great
Biggies, 4%.
of this team.
All right. Well, so far, a very big HP.
Oh, good shot.
A lot of control, a great connection.
Oh wow, good shot. Side tempo. 2 finish. See, 3 down. Nice.
You just don't do it.
Good shot. Good shot. Good shot. 1v3 alone.
That is ridiculous stuff from him, and
Oh GG's man.
take care of him. Will do just that. Actually, Shu is a double kill, and that's exactly what they needed. Nearly gets to triple as well, but those sandbags, and they didn't even really tank for anything. You just killed him before the super connected, I guess.
This is insane. I can't believe we're watching this. Zeta Division 1 are
आप एक दिन मैजिक खा रहे थे ना लाइव स्ट्रीम पे, बहुत अच्छी लग रही थी देखने में. फिर मेरा मन भी किया और मैंने भी खाया उस दिन. क्या बहुत बढ़िया. इस बार का प्राइस पूल लो होगा.
we're seeing Colette
होगा.
that
इतना गेम चल नहीं रहा तो obviously लो तो होगा ही.
mostly as a counter to Carl, and now she's getting kills left, right, and center. Shetampo will rack up a death of his.
Oh, nice.
Balance out the KDR there. Otherwise, you're dividing by 0. No one wants that.
GG's.
Attempts from Verite Lien.
Side tempo. Just writing down there.
Ignored. Zeta Division 1 are
Forward,
not under any conditions.
Oh,
Even
nice.
with a freeze frame active.
1%.
Picking up a last percentage point probably soon here, unless Verite Lien have something totally unexpected to offer.
I just love how Kenji like the zone. You know,
GG's.
he could have finished the game right there.
That was COC के दम पर जिंदा है.
The zone. I think this is a replay triple kill from earlier. First one there, Melty Kid's going down.
COC भी है.
There actually gets
Clash Royale अभी भी खेला जाता है भाई. Clash Royale के
getting his neck.
टूर्नामेंट्स भी काफी बढ़िया होता है.
The tempo is
Clash Royale भी बढ़िया गेम है.
It's just a smooth triple kill. That's your first interaction of the game, and you get triple killed by Shitempo and Colette mid. Yeah, it's that tough.
Hey, I mean, if we run the Brawlers again this year, that could be play of the year. I mean, that is an easy contender. We saw some 1% difference defenses here and there, but it's definitely an honorable mention. One of the runners up at minimum. But Zeta Division 1 might not get away with it this time. Vertilian know to be extremely cautious of just speed demon that is Shitempo. A kill on a Shitempo, a kill on a Kenji as well. Sure, the Melty Kids are going to survive this interaction with 39% already captured off of the point. Vertilian have a good amount to capture to catch up as well, but
GG's.
mid for the time being.
Nice.
G gonna get a takedown, shoot.
44-26.
Zeta Division 1 still have the lead, and once they get this third member up to the brawl, they might be able to make a coordinated push.
Sandbags pumped in zone as an extra defensive measure, but a bit more difficulty here for Zeta Division 2. Mid. That is an aggressive super from Shitempo. Gets punished for it too, but in the end we do see some trades. Kenji though tries
Still 59-49.
super, but gets taken out, and Vertilian are catching up right now. Just
मगर Clash
behind.
बहुत P2W P2 win है.
Always plays
इसलिए तो बोला ना इसके दम पे तो चल रही है गेम. सुपरसेल जिंदा है.
to
देखो गेम कितने लोग खेल रहे हैं उससे मतलब नहीं. गेम जितना पैसा कमा रही है उससे मतलब है. तो वो काफी बढ़िया कमा रही है Clash Royale. Oh भाई, good shot. Oh, it's a 1v3 from their side as well. Real Shu, nice.
but I mean, Shu
हाँ, इतना स्मूथ गेम तो मेरा कभी नहीं चला.
was the one to follow.
आपकी माइनक्राफ्ट सीरीज अच्छी चल रही है ना. हाँ, बढ़िया चल रही है.
Actually, a team wiped
ओ 95 से क्या ये कमबैक होगा?
going down, and
वेरिटिलियन का क्या ये कमबैक होने वाला है? Because
Game phase is on Zeta 1. They gotta take it here, and they gotta take it
89%.
3 brawlers active. Blaze gonna head into
Oh,
things.
GG's. That was close. 5%.
That is just insane that you're able to do that with Fang, despite all of the nerfs and all the balance changes. You got the good mechanics, and you seek out the prime opportunity. You can catch even Zeta 1 off guard. Now, let's respect the MSI champions and some of the greatest brawlers in the world. Zeta probably let their guard down just a little, but that was absolutely the wrong time to let it happen, because Vertilian are one game closer to pushing it to a game 3.
yeah, I think that's something we saw a little bit in Brawl as well. You know, where Zeta got a little more playing a little over aggressive, and eventually got punished. A goal coming true from Vertilian. It wasn't quite a game though. This time it is a game, and it's something
Oh, very low.
usually is not too much of a problem for Zeta Division 1. They're not really the sort of team that will throw
Good shot, good shot.
confident and give too much away, but we're seeing a little bit of Sure,
Nice.
just strikes was a double kill. I'm not sure if he used his gadget. I don't think he did. We saw earlier how good he's at placing those. It was very well timed and good positioning to do so. He's gonna sit in that aggressive spot. It's not too far off his super eater from that double kill from earlier. So even though he does go down now, he's gonna come back fresh into the action with Vertilian and the percentage lead and a super either available or very close to being available. Yeah, a shot away probably.
Imagine that Fang.
Third तक जाएगा I guess.
Vertilian needed
Oh,
Zeta Division 1. This is what I was talking about. It's the Achilles heel of this team, that they love to play
क्या ये थर्ड तक जाएगा?
simply stay out of range, but
लुक तो ऐसा रहा है लेकिन कमबैक
that,
गुड.
without a doubt, he still will be picking up some kills. Kenji gets to stay
Ah,
a little
jeez.
longer. Melty Kiss gets taken down by the flying pickaxe. Zeta Division 1 still can pick up a little bit more capture.
Oh, nice.
Gets a quick kill. And Blaze circling around.
And the whole team is in the middle now.
Pushes to play aggro
Still.
for all 3 members of Zeta 1 circling around this point. Just touching their toes on here. Shu with a big push in. A good kill for him.
No, this one is going out.
Super hard on the right side. Verte Lien near this point of no return. Kenji's not able to make it happen.
95%.
Completely in.
Oh, 97%.
Seen this story before. No matter how hard Zeta Division
Can they get a comeback?
Verte Lien, they just got to exist on this point, and Blaze will do exactly that.
Oh,
No way.
GG's.
Verte Lien somehow take the next set. It's a reverse sweep. But this is true within just the set. A reverse sweep for Verte Lien, and we're headed to a set 3.
I mean, this is unexpected, but I mean, it's very much welcome. Most upsets in the region so far. Maybe some brackets, you know, with some early Zeta versus Zeta matches. Those were probably our biggest upsets so far in the region. And this is kind of lining up to show some signs of, you know, there's room for things to happen and go wrong here for Zeta Division. Now it's 1-1, so we're all tied up, and I would say that overall Zeta Division, without a doubt,
Oh no, confidence name. अभी बाकी है.
the event on
पागल है सब.
prediction, it was 92% in Zeta Division, and this match is gonna end in a 2-1 scoreline no matter what. That's pretty close in my books. Was a pretty close Brawl Ball game as well, and this was just a really strong set from Verte Lien, and you have to give them real points, because it's not like they just had the comp, you know. I think Shu had a big part to do with that success, with some just incredible kills here and there, and he was facing a Colette, which is really not a good matchup for him.
Well, let me throw you a curveball. This is vengeance for Verte Lien, because in the past, in fact, back in April, they
Still 42% damage being done by Saitempo.
monthly finals, and then they got completely swept by Zeta Division 1. They have been really training hard for this matchup, and Fang, like I mentioned, this is proving to be the Achilles heel of Zeta Division 1, at least in this set. We'll see what can possibly happen in the next set, but so far, it's appearing that Verte Lien are just ravenous in trying to claim the revenge over Zeta Division 1, and Zeta 1 just might not have been prepared for it. They gotta dig deep, they gotta play it just as they usually would, because I don't think there's really too much time to make an adjustment at this point. The only problem is that Zeta 1, being as prolific as they are such a well-documented team. There's so much footage for Verte Lien to run back to analyze and look for these tiny nicks, tiny, I guess, weaknesses in their armor. Canal Grande is definitely going to be one of those maps where weaknesses can arise, and, well, the Michael Rodent style of things can prevail.
Well, we'll see what approach they go for here on both sides. It is a map where you can try to spice with it, things up with a bit more aggression as well.
शायद बीजे में अनबैन हो जाएगा क्योंकि अभी भी सर्वर फुल फोर्स से चल रहा है अनलाइक पबजी.
We have the
एक्चुअल में सर्वर इसलिए बंद नहीं हुआ है बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट ने अभी सिर्फ पार्शली बैन किया है. पार्शली बैन इन द सेंस अभी उनकी बातें चल रही हैं, गप्पे शप्पे लड़ा रहे हैं. क्या पता पॉलिटिशियन है तो पैसे वैसे की बात चल रही है. अच्छा आप कितने पैसे कमाते हो? अच्छा 2 करोड़ कमाते हो, एक काम करो 10% हमारा, ठीक है 20 लाख रुपए यहाँ भेज देना, तुम्हारा अनबैन कर देंगे. तो जब तक एक फाइनल रिटर्न में नहीं मिल जाती कोई चीज, आप वो चीज कर सकते हो.
Noticing a couple of brawlers are open. Ash and Byron.
तो पबजी को रिटर्न में मिला था ये नोटिस, लेकिन रिटर्न में बैन का नोटिस नहीं लिखा. और 2 days left until 15 अगस्त, तब तक पता चल जाएगा कि बैन या अनबैन. ना 15 अगस्त को नहीं पता चलने वाला. पता है क्यों? क्योंकि ये गवर्नमेंट वाला काम है, और गवर्नमेंट वाला काम मैं बता दूं, आज छुट्टी है गवर्नमेंट की, क्योंकि मैं भी गवर्नमेंट के साथ डील करता हूँ. आज छुट्टी है, कल संडे है. 15 अगस्त को तो घंटा कोई काम नहीं करने वाला. तो अगर कोई काम होने वाला भी होगा तो इस हफ्ते 3-4 दिन तो नहीं होने वाला. 16-17 के बाद अगर कोई काम या नोटिस आना हो तो आएगा, उससे पहले नहीं आने वाला.
I don't think Sandy's gonna cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking maybe that they would go for the max, you know, just go back to the roots and go Gene.
भाई मैं तो
but
क्या बताऊं मैं, तो एमडी वगैरह जो होते हैं, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर्स होते हैं बड़े बड़े गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन से,
Does leave open some
उनसे मिलने जाता था और मान लो उनके बिल में साइन चाहिए, भाई वो तो मुंह पे बोल देता था,
cover those,
ये क्या लेके आओ,
very much. So
इसमें कुछ रखो भाई, इसमें कुछ रखो, तुमने कुछ रखा नहीं, इसमें कैसे साइन कर दूं मैं, नहीं नहीं लेके जाओ, इसमें कुछ नहीं। अरे भाई कोई गलती हो ना हो, तुम्हारा बिल सही हो ना हो, उसको कोई मतलब नहीं, तुम्हारा बिल अगर 10 रुपए का है, 1% उसको चाहिए तो चाहिए,
earlier,
अब तुम्हारा करोड़ का बिल हो, 100 रुपए का बिल हो, 1000 का बिल हो, एमडी तक का जो लेवल का व्यक्ति है जिसकी मंथली सैलरी 1-1.5 लाख होती है,
really play
वो ऐसा बोल रहा है कि भाई अरे ये क्या खाली खाली फाइल है, रखो भाई इसमें कुछ
gonna try to
वजन डालो इसमें।
and picking up the blue star.
मन तो करता है उसके गले में ही वजन डाल दूं,
It's pretty out there.
क्या बेटा तेरे गले पे वजन डालता हूँ अच्छे से,
That he was going
टॉक करके आवाज आएगी ना, मजे आ जाएगा इसको।
perhaps not. Maybe we're
किसने बनाया इन लोगों को इतनी हाई पोजीशन पे, एमडी पे एमडी,
quite dominating, and this tank can really spice things up.
और तो कोई डर नहीं भाई, खुलेआम बोलता है,
Doesn't look like Gale's going to get.
क्या भाई ये खाली क्या है,
We'll have some
डालो इसमें
range,
कुछ।
Sandy, which will enable him to play that much.
15 दिन दिया है विजय को, तो 15 डेज के लिए हम
Facing any
दो
tank, it's just
डेज बचे, 2 दिन, 2 ही डेज बचे,
if you're catching my drift. That said,
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता भाई। मैं तुमको बताऊं, इनकम टैक्स भरने की डेट 31 जुलाई थी,
play defense for the entire.
उससे पहले 15 जुलाई थी, 15 जुलाई से 31 हुई, 31 से अब अगस्त तक का टाइम दिया, अगस्त से अब
Pick up the
लास्ट ऑफ द अगस्त, मतलब 31 अगस्त तक भर सकते हो इनकम टैक्स। तो डेट बढ़ने के लिए होती गवर्नमेंट की, कोई फिक्स नहीं होती।
really well played there by Verite Lien. I'm surprised that they were able to
ओ भाई
divert his path towards spawn to make that happen. Though stun onto Shu, he's gonna have to super out to avoid getting taken down by the root sands. Amazing gameplay from both sides.
That was incredibly close, but now 4 stars, and the gap is actually gonna be noticeable. And
ZETA division is losing,
really trying to
4 point difference, only 20 seconds remaining, let's see what's gonna be done।
match that really just felt in their hands. Shoot still very aggressive, but he's quite low HP. He's gonna
Oh,
push it.
2 points,
Space, 12 seconds left here. Zeta division, if they can find a final kill that could make it, but they need that blue star or
wait,
stars should
why?
be sacrificed. That craze just
क्यों वेस्ट किया भाई, उसने वेस्ट किया।
point coming up for Veritilian.
Veritilian is leading now।
Witnessing, no way do we see Zeta 1 of all teams taken down here. It seems like really Verite Lien have identified the weakness. I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but it only becomes more true with each coming game. Verite Lien are at match point. If they get another victory, not only is that a reverse sweep, but it's a win over Zeta Division 1. That said, they have let the Blue Star go over the way of Zeta Division 1. Zeta 1 are not playing around. They're playing at the top of their game. They cannot afford to lose a single game here. Every interaction needs to go their way. Blazes
Oh,
almost
GG's.
taken
Good
down
shot।
in that sandstorm. In the end, Moyogoku will be
बर्थडे ने आईटी लगा के जानबूझ के फैन को सेक्रीफाइस किया,
stun and escape with his life, but with very low health. Zeta
because they are having blue star ना,
complete
their
different.
blue star था, इसलिए जानबूझ के वो गया आपसे आगे।
Yeah, this is tough
क्योंकि
for
एक
V.
बहुत ही फेमस लाइन है,
Big difference.
attack is the best defense, so that is what they were doing,
Gets
attacking।
on his heel as well, and they'll try to play it up.
ओ बच गया, नहीं बचा, मुझे लगा कैंडी बच गया लेकिन नहीं, कैंडी is down, still 4 points lead with the blue star for Zeta। Let's see what
Minimum
else they can do।
is if no one from Veritilian will
And no,
caught off guard.
only 2 points।
1v1 against Fang. The tempo taking a fair bit of damage. Impact plays again. Does
Oh
get
no,
kill. Somehow it's still up and running.
oh bhai,
There's out of that. Oh, and
oh bhai, they are losing and Zeta division is actually losing।
It's always the jump pads that get you, isn't it? 18 seconds left. Vertilien need to hang on to 3 stars. Melty Kiss or Blaze need to be taken down. And with everything slowed down,
1 point difference, come on, come on, come
a
on,
few seconds remain. Melty Kiss is gonna get hold for max range. And Zeta
come back or what,
back,
bhai
and
sahab,
nothing can stop these guys.
final match।
We're going to double
क्या बात।
point.
इसलिए तो जेटा डिवीजन के मैचेस देखने में मजा आता
this
है,
year in a
इसलिए तो मजा आता है जेटा टीम मैचेस देखने में,
this is
और क्यों आता है?
closest a match of Zeta Division 1 has not just in the region but in general. I mean, they've lost 2 monthly finals to Zeta Division 0, but besides that, even on an international level, they're pretty much unbeaten. And look at that, the tempo to open things up. A nice couple of kills going both ways, but it is going to be Zeta with an early 2-star lead. The tempo quite aggressive, doesn't get punished though, as Shu does unlock his super, gets the kill in the end. Don't think he'll be committing to the double. It's only a 1-star difference. We've seen Vertilian come back from wars, but just
1 point lead, but they are not doing blue star. अब यार opponent के लिए बुरा लगा.
quite Vertilian, if they could pull off the upset here, that would be massive for the region.
And this is a far better start for Vertilian this time. They got dipped
Nice.
at the beginning of the last match. Good combo on the left side between Stetampo
भाई
and
आलू टिक्के अकेले संभाल रहा है एक पूरा साइड.
very, very vulnerable. Though Kenji is doing a good job of playing control around this lane, at minimum slowing things down. Blaze will get the takedown onto the tick super though. Kenji has to keep running back. Blaze needs someone to come in.
Oh.
Shu is almost going to feed another super to Stetampo. And here comes the connection of the damage amplifier onto Moya Goku. Shu continues to pressure and Kenji on the bottom side.
फैंग को सुपर नहीं देना है, बस इन लोगों को बस यही करना है और कुछ नहीं करना. फैंग को सुपर नहीं देना और दे दिया.
5 seconds.
फैंग ने अपना सुपर चार्ज कर लिया है.
A lot more Brawl Stars to be played.
अब प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट होने वाली है.
Clock is ticking down way.
लेकिन फैंग अटक गया.
The gash as well from Stetampo. He has nothing left. Moya Goku's looking. Is able to get the kill. Blaze
अरे
down 50.
फैंग ने
Multicus has to
बचका कर दिया लास्ट में. अदरवाइज फैंग की वजह से जीत रहे थे, लेकिन उसी फैंग के
really fast.
एक रॉन्ग सुपर की वजह से.
Yeah, we need a 2-star trade. Maltic is very low HP.
Oh, bhai.
Going in, he finds one. They could get stuck here, but Blaze probably gonna get pulled. Gets one.
ZETA division going on to the
But Zeta
semi-finals.
they do take it in the end. I wanted to believe it all the way until the end of Vertilian, but it is gonna be Zeta that take it. It is a scoreline that we
क्या चाहिए?
at least it's the result that we expected. I think the scoreline probably we did not, considering there was a match point. As a matter of fact, 2 match points in the hands of Vertilian, which we would not expect in a best of 3 against Zeta Division 1. But Zeta, they managed to remain safe and sound. Will take a bit of a hit in their win rates across the board, as they did a decent amount of games and a set in this matchup as well. But besides that, I mean, they can move on to the semis with still a decent amount of confidence. Just got to sort out maybe some of those problems. But overall, I wouldn't say they look particularly weak. I think that VL just looked really strong, and Zeta struggled a bit to deal with that fate.
Opponent भी like हाँ तो आया पर मुंह न लगाया.
Games, they were able to
भाई
do a much better job at
पहली बात तो फैंग का सुपर चार्ज हो गया. वो जो लास्ट में
actually
मैशअप हुआ है फैंग के साथ,
Rising with it, and I do
उस वजह से
to an extent. I think that Zeta Division 1 can march
उस वजह से बैंड बज गई.
with a fair bit of confidence. They are going to have to face Rising Sun now, but still, they should not go into the grand finals with confidence. They got to face their sister team. And if Vertilian is able to identify such a weakness as a simple pick of one brawler, that has got to be terrifying for these guys. Not to detract from some of the great stats that we've seen. Zeta Division 1 taking the W, obviously, but Vertilian, I think we got to hand it to especially the Fang play from Shu, which we've been seeing shining all day long. But Blaze and Melty Kiss, the comms must have been off the charts, because every single kill that we saw for Vertilian, if it wasn't by Shu purely by himself on offense, it was due to a pinch. And that's not something that you get without great team communication. That much is evident, even if it's not one of the stats that we track.
Yeah, it's an incredible performance, honestly, from Vertilian. The tempo is going to be the MVP for this one. I would agree with you, though, and I would even say that if Vertilian picked up the match in the end, probably Shu would have been the MVP, just because he had an incredible performance. And to do it against a team like Zeta is incredibly impressive. Just as a little note here for Vertilian, this was their second monthly final this year. So it's just very impressive, you know, to see that they are able to bring in such high level of play, despite not necessarily being the most consistent team in the region. And it does show that sometimes, you know, if your opponents overlook you a little bit, maybe don't do as much research as they usually do, or if you're just able to match the aggression that your opponents have, you can do wonders. And Vitalian showed that today. They are not going to take it. It's going to be ZETA Division 1 moving forward to the semifinals, but oh my, was it close.
It was extremely close, and I'm a little bit scared for what could become of ZETA 1 in the second semifinal, but ZETA 0 is going to kick us off in the semifinals, and from there, who knows, we might have the ZETA v ZETA matchup in the grand finals and see who gets ahead on the monthly finals wins. That sums it up for the quarterfinals, though. We got semifinals on the way, but first, a short break.
इसमें कौन कौन है? ZETA 1, ZETA 0, पता नहीं दो और टीम है जिनका नाम है ये अतारुचान क्लब राइजिंग सन स्पोर्ट्स और ZETA तो है दोनों ZETA वर्सेस अतारुचान क्लब और Rising Sun Esports. These are the teams for the semifinals. May the newbies win. देखो, अगर न्यूबीज विन हो भी जाते हैं तब भी उनको इतने पॉइंट्स नहीं मिलेंगे कि वो वर्ल्ड फाइनल्स खेल सके, क्योंकि ये फर्स्ट नंबर पे ओवरऑल सभी रीजन्स का मिला लिया जाए तो फ्री विन एजेंट्स सबसे टॉप पर है, क्योंकि वो हारे ही नहीं है भाई, वो हारे ही नहीं है, एक भी मंथली फाइनल नहीं हारे हैं वो। सेकंड पे है ZETA डिवीजन 1 जो कि 2 बार हारे हैं अभी तक, सेकेंड नंबर पे चल रहे हैं जो। फिर आते हैं दूसरी टीम्स जिनके मुझे नाम एग्जैक्टली ऑर्डर में पता नहीं है, लेकिन ये 2 टीम तो मुझे पता है जो कि ऑलरेडी हैं। उसके अलावा बहुत सारी टीम है जो कि ऑलरेडी वहां पर है, लेकिन ये जो टीम्स हैं जो अभी आज यहाँ पे दिख रही हैं आपको, ये नई टीम्स हैं। ये अगर जीत भी जाती हैं तो इनको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 200 पॉइंट्स मिलेंगे। वहीं जो ऑलरेडी टीम खेलते आ रही हैं, हर महीने पहुंच रही है मंथली फाइनल्स में, उनके पास काफ़ी सारे पॉइंट्स हैं। इवन आफ्टर दोज टीम्स जो कि सिर्फ सेमीफाइनल तक भी पहुंचे हैं, उनके भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा पॉइंट्स हैं। अगर वो नहीं भी जीतते तब भी तो इतने पॉइंट्स है कि कोई नई टीम आके जीत भी जाती है तब भी वो वर्ल्ड फाइनल्स में पहुंच जाएंगे।
I don't know if they can catch up here. It seems like they might just do it, but they need to hold on to both the left and the right side. It's so little in it. Gugu, he needs to get those percentages. It's so close. Oh my, we might just have the draw we were asking for. Wow.
See if Rising Sun rises up at the last second.
With just a few seconds left, 15-second countdown active. Blood Diamond is in the lead, but here comes Aaron with yet another super.
Roche as well down the left-hand side. We can't forget about that as well. In he comes, and Daryl rolls there. He rolls through it. They've got the shots on. They get the blue star. There's no takedowns. The bow can't get the second shot.
And finally, check out this nail biter put on by Tribe Gaming in A. It's going to be a close call. Zulon backing away, and Tribe, if they play a perfect defense, could certainly get this.
Yeah, it's possible massively with an Ems on your side, and Rico, here comes the damage. 10% left. Atari still standing. Is Louis still standing? Tribe have gone and done it. Oh my word.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to come back next month to see more awesome plays.
वेबसाइट व्यूअर्स थोड़ा रिड्यूस हो गया है क्या वेबसाइट का? कौन सी वेबसाइट का?
and feast of fury? The answer?
कौन सी वेबसाइट का भाई? इस बार का क्या रिवॉर्ड था? मैंने तो देखा भी नहीं। क्या मिल रहा है इस बार रिवॉर्ड में? ये रोतलू पिन मिल रहा है, रोतलू पिन। यही ब्लॉक चार्ज का वो तो घटता ही जा रहा है ना, डाउनफॉल पे तो है। नए प्लेयर्स आ नहीं रहे हैं, पुराने जो है वो खेलना छोड़ रहे हैं, तो ये तो होना ही है। फिर भी टिका हुआ है तो ठीक ही है, चल रहा है जब तक।
against ZETA Division 1.
Yeah, they are the current leaders in the region for a reason, and in terms of our predictions, once again, exactly the same. It's going to be ZETA Division 0 and ZETA Division 1. Again, I just think they are the heavy favorites. They're the top two, only separated by 3 points. I think it's fairly understandable, but these other teams do have a good chance here, and they really need to step it up today if they want their chance at Worlds.
Definitely so. I mean, you know, any points that any of those 4 teams get today are going to be
today आपकी हाइट कितनी है? 5.8.
later stages of the season. Only
एशिया ना हो जाए, ऐसा ना हो जाए कि नेक्स्ट टाइम से कम्पिटिटर्स
anymore
कोई ना बुलाए।
teams like Ataru Chan Club and Rising
इतना तो नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि इन लोगों से दूसरे टूर्नामेंट्स का भी करवा सकते हैं ना।
they could win their
जस्ट इन केस मान लो ये गेम बहुत ज्यादा
long way.
नहीं चलता है, तभी तो दूसरे गेम्स चल रहे हैं, उनके कमेंटेटर्स के साथ रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं।
And that is a challenge that very few teams in the world have had the chance to actually do.
Yeah, and if you want a challenge of your own, make your predictions at home, event.brawlstars.com. Join in all the fun and make your predictions between ZETA Division 0 and Ataru Chan Club. And first off, we're going to be starting up with ZETA Division 0. They've taken the last 2 matchups against their foes, ZETA Division 1. That's going to be Tensai, Kuru, and Choppy. They have been smooth sailing here today. Great start at 2-0.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you know, if we look, one of the most convincing matches of the day so far was from ZETA Division 0. They looked incredible, just clean stuff and all smiles while doing it as well, I'm sure. So this is a team that, you know, is probably going to come out as a favorite for this matchup as well, as they are just so strong and versatile. Looking forward to seeing them some more in action and maybe be a bit more challenged this time around compared to, you know, how the quarterfinal match went. Just very smooth. Ataru Chan Club can be that team that, you know, just raises the bar a little bit for this matchup.
For sure, and I definitely don't think they're
Ataru Chan Club.
Me, Macreo, all been performing really well and a lot better in this second half, I would say. I think they've really started to find their stride, get a little more comfortable, and they've definitely shown some more opposition in some of these matchups. Macreo on screen now, and I definitely think at the beginning of the year, this was a team I was looking for, not necessarily ahead of the Zetas, but with a lot of potential to maybe be one of those teams that disrupts the region.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you know, they have the experience, and with some ex-Queen 9 players from last year, I believe, as well as players like Milkreo that just are some of the, you know, longest lasting figures in the Japanese scene. Just really, really nice to see back in action here. And although it is a 93-7, I would say it's probably a little bit closer than that. Although obviously ZETA Division 0 should be coming in as a favorite. I don't think that is a surprise to anyone. But yeah, 93-7, I'm not quite sure about that ratio, as I do think Ataru Chan Club stand a bit more of a chance than that, even though it is on paper a tough matchup for them.
For sure. Maybe it's the name change at home. People aren't as familiar with the organization, I guess, name that they're going with. Obviously, the former Blood Diamond roster. And immediately what strikes my eye is going to be this Mortis ban, first pick of Squeak. Interesting stuff coming out of ZETA Division 0, Teddy. Any idea why they would do this?
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I don't mind what I'm seeing so far. I think Squeak as well, and any slows, right? Because we see the Squeak, we see the Crow, any brawler that has a slow, same in the brawler pick rates. If you look at you know, the Spike, any CCs, but particularly slows are going to be very effective because, you know, you can from really being anywhere near the minecart, because if they're slowed in the wrong place, they're going to get hit by the minecart. It's a ton of damage, and otherwise they might just have to not risk it, give up a bit of control, and unless you have a lot of distractions or mobility, it can be challenging to get past that. Same train of thoughts with the Bell. You know, the Nest Eggs can do a really good job at slowing things down and making things very dangerous, especially if, you know, you're not as focused, because you're so focused into the game you forget about a nest egg somewhere. That is stuff that will happen even at the highest level, and we'll finally see the Roughs to complete the comp from ZETA Division 0. Tower was a final pick here to try to get a good counter. I'm not sure what kind of options they have here to really hit hard, as probably I feel like they could still have a mid, unless they want to run the Lola mid. Actually, I'm assuming it's going to be Lola mid and then Sprout on lane.
Yeah, I love this sneaky Sprout pick here. It seems like Mortis would be really good into all three of the brawlers that ZETA Division 0 selected. May having some squishy brawlers not have wanted to kind of deal with the Mortis aggression, but I mean, a very standard kind of composition coming from ACC2. I've seen a good bit of Sprout here in practices, and I think, again, it's going to be a really sneaky pick. It's something in the blind days that would show up from time to time, and I was a fan of back then. Now they're going to be implementing in this month's Minecart Madness rendition. I think it's going to do really well into both the really
let's see
quite well, and typically counters the Bell, as it's a sharpshooter, can't get around those walls. So overall, I think ACC having a very solid draft for themselves.
Yeah, definitely so. A very competitive one here, but gotta play it right as well. Tensai very low HP, Milcreo quite low as well. Tensai's been trying to heal up, gets reset. Dempsey gonna be one shot on the left lane. So far, a lot of pokes, but not too many eliminations confirmed. And that minecart is huge. That's 4 gems picked up by Ataru Chan Club. Started things off with a 1 gem deficit, leading by 4 now. That is a big turnaround, and having that good timing with the minecart is going to be a big reason for that.
Wow, Macreo popping that wall and is going to manage to stay alive here. The Lola ego applying a lot of pressure as well. Kuru is going to fall. Dempsey is going to be slowed down, but in the process, Minmi able to grab an extra gem and a lot of control. Kinsai the only one up at the moment as a Choppy's returning to action. Gadget being popped, just trying to do anything to keep them off this mid. And it's going to be a 7-0 lead. ACC starting off very well.
Yeah, this is a solid start from Ataru Chan Club.
Oh, GG's.
He is going to get 1 kill. Will give away a gem in the process as well. He's trying to probably open up a little bit of space to retake for ACC. It is a tough situation when your gem carrier and that's a
nice shot.
Damage,
nice shot. No.
Stay safe. Tensai, considering if he can maybe wiggle his way to there and pick up 1 or 2, but it's not going to happen. A 3-gem lead though for ZETA Division 1.
No, and down.
Dempsey.
No, and down.
As well gets
no, and down.
Will get shut down to
it.
Literally
Nice.
1 shot. But it gives the chance here for Ataru Chan Club to catch up, steal 1 of those gems in the process as well, and actually pick up the gem lead now.
Great cutoff from McCrayo. Choppy going to be falling weak as well. Dempsey tagged up with the damage amplifier. Countdown is beginning 10 to 8. They still need to hold mid control here. And the Sprout plays have been insane to keep them away. Tensai now pushing forward, grabbing one. It's 11 to 9 here. Probably not enough time. They need to find a pickup here. McCrayo and Mimi deep in spawn. Wall going down and a takedown as well onto Zeta.
GG's.
ACC starting out with game number 1.
ACC cement.
Clean. That's honestly just really, really clean here from Mataro Chan Club. And I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't close, but again, you know, we have to remember their opposition that really so far hasn't had too much opposition in the region besides their own sister teams. So it's really refreshing to see both Zeta teams just having a bit more of a struggle. And I'm not sure if they're just not at their best form today, or if it is the other teams just really rising up to match the level and the expectations we have onto the Zeta division teams. But the Taro Chan Club looked really solid in that previous game. That was just some really good Brawl Stars overall, and let's see if they can do it again to secure this first set.
Ooh. And Kuru with a good pickup there. The more this map opens up too, it's going to help Zeta Division 0 so much. A really big win condition for the side of ACC is going to be these Sprout plays, and there's less walls to connect to or hide behind. Can make things a lot tougher. A Choppy now popping a gadget of his own to apply
BJP
that
Congress.
minecart as well. And now Zeta Division 0
BJP
a
Congress.
lot better for them in game
Matlab.
2.
Jump in from Dempsey is not even going to result in a trade. Not ideal when it costs you a super and you get as much value as your opponent. Skur, low HP, won't get pushed back, but Tensai already sitting on 8 gems. That is a tough lead to come back from. Not much room for mistakes here on the side of the tower. As a single moment where
Oh, nice.
is present in the mid would be enough to close it out. So far, they're holding on, trying to catch up. Still have a lot of work to do to make it happen. Although it's not looking half bad right now, as they still have 2 gems secured on the top left. Let's see if they can catch up. They're technically tied here. Dempsey is going to fall though, drop a gem in the process as well. Memi gets stabbed. That's a good moment for Tensai to build up some control in the mid, and
Oh, nice.
very close.
They're trapped, they're trapped.
Otherwise, that could be a couple of kills there actually. Seems like it's only going to be the one. Milkreo, which just barely stays alive, eventually does drop, and a countdown from Zeta Division 0.
Yeah, and opening up this left-hand side has made a lot of easier plays for Zeta Division 0. 9 seconds to go. Kuru with a pickup. Milkreo now pushing as well. Wall goes down, tabbed onto Kuru, who's going to get taken down. The minecart, however, protecting Tensai with all
GG's.
not an early enough.
Hello, Chito. Hi, good, you. I'm also good. You say, bro, how are you doing?
Yeah, a big game for them to pick up. You know, in an upset, that first set can go a long way, and so that Division 0, they want to make sure they shut any of those ideas down as soon as possible. Not let the Ataro Chan Club dream and get their hopes up too much either. And give them that sort of confidence. As right now, a decent start from Ataro, but they do lose a player.
And boom.
Z goes down next. It's going to be a trade here, but is the respawn from a Chappie and Milkreo. Oh, a good wall actually. Gonna keep him in the mix, but he's the one carrying gems so far for Ataro Chan Club, which is less than ideal situation considering he's not really their designated gem carrier.
And Menmi was getting bullied a little bit on that right-hand side. There was just nowhere to go between Squeak shots and the Colonel Ruff's rocket range. Just so much pressure being applied. Now a gadget in the mid as well. Menmi's just only going to be able to slowly... Dempsey going to get shredded. And now Kuru is going to be able to deal with the Squeak, who's forced away. Nice jobs there as Sprout all the way back in the spawn. 2.5 minutes to go. And 6-3 lead for Zeta Division 0, who are continuing to really press on offense.
Boom.
This is looking really solid from Zeta so far. Jump in from Dempsey, but again...
Take it, take it, take it, take it, take it.
Time to pop the slow, right? And before going down. Could have been a nice double or triple slow, but just not meant to be. Countdown for Zeta. Ataru need kills to shut this.
Boom. Alright, GG.
Doesn't seem
First
like any
set
of those
goes to Zeta Division 0.
gonna be
How old are you? Exclamation mark about, bro.
first
So write down exclamation mark about. You will know all the things in there.
from them after that first game that was a bit more challenging, and they ended up dropping. They were able to get 2 fairly clean follow-ups to take the set.
Oh yeah, nice one.
Yeah, really good adjustments there, and I think choosing their lanes and really opening up that left-hand wall were a big factor there. It really allowed their competition, which had more sharpshooter kind of combos, and especially when you're going against a Sprout, that's one of the things that Sprout is going to take advantage of. It's going to be very tough for both Bell and Colonel Ruffs, but taking advantage of the Colonel Ruffs start.
अच्छा हाँ ये तो best of 5 है भाई, मैं भूल गया था.
In this meta, he's never going to be somebody that's really banned here, but he has so much utility that he can bring to the table. And as you can see here, Kuru able to really let it rip on this left-hand side along with 10 side, just because that wall opens up. It's so simple.
No idea.
It helps this team so much, and it really took away a win condition from ACC. Overall, Zeta Division 0, great adjustments in game 2 and 3, and definitely it came to the table with some good stuff.
Headshot टाटा.
Yeah, no.
टाटा बिल्डा वाली सीन में आ गई है.
Great work from a Tower Chan club, and
टाटा है, खेलते ही नहीं, मुझे zero idea भाई.
it's not quite gonna make the
Zeta thinking they are the most energetic. Meanwhile,
was just a phenomenal performance.
Goldirock villagers. अरे भाई मेरे villagers बहुत ज़्यादा तेज स्पीड के हैं, बिना खाना दिए ही इतना काम कर देते हैं.
A lot of kills for
और बिना आयरन फार्म बनाई 2 गोलम स्पॉन हो रहे हैं
Gem carrier.
बिना आयरन फार्म बनाए,
Be playing it
और एक गोलम से ऑन एन एवरेज ये मान सकते हैं
as much to secure those
3 to 5
laning.
आयरन तो निकलता ही निकलता है. कुछ में से 5 भी निकलता है, कुछ में से 4 निकलता है, और रेयरली एक ही 2 बार ऐसा हुआ जिसमें 3 निकले.
Sprout play in
अदरवाइज
really well.
निकल रहा है भाई,
Solid performance again.
सही है, चलने दो.
Very hard to take advantage. The
तो जो चीज मुझे समझ में आई, जो पहला कॉलम निकलता है वो 5 दे रहा है, लेकिन जो सेकंड कॉलम निकल रहा है वो सिर्फ 3 दे रहा है.
giving them a lot of problems.
ऐसा पता नहीं क्यों, लेकिन ऐसा ही है.
Time and now hopping in to Bell's
तो ऑन एन एवरेज 4 कह सकते हो, पर कॉलम 4
different brawlers that could get
मिल रहा है मुझे
see some simple.
बिना अभी आयरन फार्म बनाए.
Is there anybody
आज वैसे आज की स्ट्रीम में आयरन फार्म बनाना है और विलेजर्स को और भी ज्यादा जॉब्स देनी है हमें.
Shines on this map. I think there's a lot of brawlers that are pretty good, and it's more about, you know, combining them together to really try to gain an advantage. Obviously, you know, one of the first things that are going to come to mind on a map like this is just the amount of walls, which means throwers are pretty popular, as well as tankier brawlers, and you know, brawlers that can bounce. So potentially, you know, Rico's still open in the mix here, but our bans are going to be indeed 2 throwers. So
जो गोलम ज़ॉम्बी से लड़ते हैं वो
banned out, as well as the Fang.
कम आयरन देते हैं शायद.
Those more aggressive brawlers, and Janet and Bonnie,
भाई मैंने तो अभी तक
annoying brawlers,
रात होने ही नहीं दी है, मैं तो हमेशा बेड लगा के सो जाता हूँ.
especially for the Janet and
एक बार भी मतलब मैंने स्पॉन नहीं होने दिए फिलहाल के लिए. अब अलग से हो रहा हो तो पता नहीं.
gonna first.
पर लेकिन कितने ज्यादा लाइब्रेरी उतना अच्छा
I think it's
कर देंगे. लेक्चर बनाना पड़ता है ना, मुझे भी पता नहीं है कैसे क्या बनता है.
better you're
तो आज रात की स्ट्रीम में जब हम माइनक्राफ्ट खेलेंगे,
put some solid work
जितने लोग हैं, जितने टाइप के जॉब्स होते हैं, जहाँ तक मुझे पता है 13 टाइप के जॉब्स होते हैं
to utilize them.
पूरे माइनक्राफ्ट
What
में.
Piper ideally would go for
13 15 ऐसे कुछ होते हैं.
solid pick and combining it with
तो
some brawlers
कोशिश करेंगे जितने भी जॉब्स बना सकते हैं
outside of the tower.
एक एक तो कम से कम बना ही दें. मतलब वैरायटी तो होनी ही चाहिए.
taking it. The
फिर भले ही उनमें से जो हमारा फार्मर है
Piper first.
और जो लाइब्रेरियन है, ये 2 जॉब ऐसे हैं जो कि काफी ज्यादा सस्ते में और काफी अच्छी चीजें दे देते हैं.
Also very solid.
तो ये ज्यादा बना लेंगे हम भले
He would be a great brawler, and is pretty much the more typically played sniper, I would say.
और हाँ, उनमें से 3-4 विलेजर्स को अलग से खोपचे में बुला के हमें एक आयरन फार्म भी बनाना है.
Up a little bit on the
तो
streams. They
देखते हैं.
do traditionally
आयरन फार्म
the Piper
नहीं तो मैं विलेज जो है ना वहाँ बना के आ जाऊंगा.
days age of Brawl Stars. Lola going to be the next.
लेकिन वहाँ पे यार विलेज के बाजू में आयरन फार्म बनाओ तो फिर वो दिक्कत है. या तो पूरे विलेजेस को मारना पड़ेगा पहले,
showing up here, whereas the
एक रेड करवाना पड़ेगा,
people off guard.
तब वो जगह पूरी खाली हो जाएगी.
Lola overall is
ऐसे तो उससे दूर ही बनता है, कम से कम 20-30 ब्लॉक दूर होना चाहिए आयरन फार्म, जहाँ भी आपके विलेजर रह रहे हो. अदरवाइज गोलेम जो है स्पॉन नहीं होगा,
an appearance.
वो दिक्कत है.
A lot of throwers available.
या तो वो पीछे साइड जहाँ मेरा खेती बाड़ी कर रहा हूँ, जहाँ पे
I don't know.
आइस बायोम शुरू हो रहा है, वहाँ पे बना के आ जाऊंगा. थोड़ा दूर पे कहीं
Ones, but I don't
चलता रहेगा अपने आप.
put it to a place.
बीच बीच में हम देख आएंगे और
So
ले आएंगे. बाकी तो हमारा
shots are still a little too easy to.
फूड फार्म तो चल ही रहा है, लेदर फार्म भी हमारे पास है ही, वूल फार्म भी है ही.
Is
तो 3 चीजें तो ऑटोमेटिक है ही हमारे पास.
known for So it's gonna be a challenging one to pull.
थोड़ा और आयरन अगर आ जाएगा ना तो मैं ऑटोमेटिक फूड फार्म बनाऊंगा. ऑटोमेटिक फूड फार्म इन द सेंस पूरा कुक होके हाथ में मिलेगा.
Seeing if Memmi can put that to
कुकिंग करने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, कुक्ड मिलेगा सीधे. मेरे पास एक आइडिया है.
Just kind of
ओके, क्या आइडिया है भाई?
They're gonna go with a thrower often behind Tick and Sprout, which I believe were banned here. Choppy now getting very
और बूम.
several shots. Minmi gonna fall, and well played there. The squeak plays were insane, and now ACC only left with 2 brawlers. A Choppy pushing forward, and he is seeking another one here as the snipers duke it out on the left-hand side, going for the
Oh, 1-1.
picks up the kill on the 10 side. And now they're
Wasted.
finding themselves in a 2v2. Anybody's game now.
Man, I just love that play from a Choppy. Usually, you know, you use the residue to create space. Here, you use it directly on target, knowing that the second shot would secure the kill, and he would be out of range unless he was slowed down. Very, very good entry kill from a Choppy. It is a 2-on-2, so things are definitely still open for both sides, but a Choppy with a super gonna pop it now, gets a very big connection onto Dempsey. The slow is critical, and the damage output is as well. Milcreo trying his
GG's, and they have charged their super as well.
2 supers.
तुम जल्दी से स्पीड रन करके राइट्रा ले लो, फिर तो सारे वर्क इजी हो जाते हैं. प्रो प्लेयर्स भी ऐसा ही करते हैं. पर फिर मतलब क्या है?
Choppy with a big early in round number 1. It's gonna force
ऐसे तो फिर 2-3 पोशन बनाओ,
and a big problem
बस
here too for this
पहुंच जाओ लेके
this round.
लड़ने के लिए
To continue to take advantage of these walls. I imagine that they're going to want
एंडर ड्रैगन से.
super so they can kind of break this open and make life very difficult for Braum, who barely stays alive there, only about
डायमंड ये सब चीज बना लो और उसको ज्यादा
right
ज्यादा
side.
वो कर दो.
Choppy once again
एन्चेंटेड.
here picking up the kill on the Minmi. Dempsey with a missed pull and nowhere to run. Kuru with the pickup, and it's just Milcreo left standing.
I mean, it doesn't get much cleaner than that, does it? You know, like, I just love, and this is kind of the ZETA division effect in general, you know? The fact that they manage to take brawlers like Squeak that are not shy as well, you know? Like, usually they're kind of playing defensive, holding their lane, placing some good residue gadgets here and there to gain a bit of information and control. But that's kind of how you play, you know? And a Chappy is just playing it like it's a super aggressive brawler, just gaining terrain, and every time he has the slightest angle open, he just connects those shots, gets the pickups, and has been consistently dominant over that mid area. ZETA division here, they win this game, they'll take a second set and be a step closer to the grand finals.
Yeah, Minmi really needs to hit some shots here. That's what's allowing a Choppy to kind of push forward. There's not a lot of space to work with these walls up, and a Choppy very much taking advantage of the area control brawler that he's running. Now 2 brawlers grouped on the left-hand side for ACC. Tensai continuing to hone in on Milcreo is going to be forced to back away here. Needs to be very careful to not be in range of a gadget, and they've got this on lockdown, especially as the zone closes in. Things are going to get very tough here for ACC.
What?
That trick shot from Milcreo actually connected 2-on-2.
Nice.
He has a pull, but he goes to... I think he used a pull as well, which... I'm not entirely sure if it was a very short timing. Memmi was a big pickup. Gets the super down as well. Not the best place to throw it. Is going to have to run into the gas. Goes for a gadget, but yeah, that is going to be
Jeez.
misplayed there. Good attack.
कुछ हो गया है.
Completely honest. Almost believe they're in the Grom.
मर गए तो सारी मेहनत बर्बाद.
I'm still safe. Kenny, I'm still safe. And ZETA Division 0 are a round away from picking up this set.
Well, both sides end up trying to change up some lanes, but it ends up being the same.
पहली बात तो एंडो ड्रैगन जो वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए भी उससे पहले हमको सारी चीजें समझनी पड़ेगी वहां तक पहुंचते कैसे हैं. क्योंकि
With a big miss.
एंडर पर्ल चाहिए होता है गेस, और
I thought it was
वो कहाँ मिलता है.
clutch up there.
यहाँ पे वो एंडर पर्ल लगाते हैं, वो जो
Both sides
क्या बोलते हैं उसको,
for now.
पोर्टल कहाँ मिलता है वो भी तो ढूंढना पड़ेगा.
Side falls weak, no gap.
घर में थोड़ी बना सकते हैं. नेदर का पोर्टल ही तो घर पे बनता है ना सिर्फ, बाकी तो उसको ढूंढना पड़ेगा पहले.
All right, Dempsey still sitting.
आई ऑफ एंडर, हाँ जो भी है.
Did not end up wasting it, but hasn't been able to really
मतलब उसको वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए पहले नेदर जाना पड़ेगा, नेदर में टाइम पास करना पड़ेगा.
valuable.
तो वहां से फिर उनको जब ये सब चीजें मिलेंगी,
To close the map up. 10 seconds.
एंडरमैन मारना ही मुश्किल है. आप देखो बेसिक इक्विपमेंट के साथ तो वैसे भी नहीं मार सकते. अरे 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 अरे, ओ भाई, GG's.
But Tensai doesn't.
And they have got
Division 0 was the second set picked up.
2 sets up. 1 more set they need to win.
Really make their presence known on the leaderboard. Ever since that first game they picked up, they've been a lot more quiet.
मुझे नैदर से ब्लेज रॉड चाहिए बस और ब्लू बायोम से पर्ल्स
Region, somebody like Bobby, who's
ब्लू बायोम से पर्ल्स
pretty regular.
देखते हैं अभी तो भाई अपने बेसिक चीजें तो बना ले पहले अभी तो आयरन का फार्म नहीं बनाया मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें जो नहीं बनाएंगे
Side does not
अभी तो माइनिंग ही नहीं करी ठीक ठाक तरीके से हालांकि हमारे
love this match.
सब साइड से माइन शाफ्ट भरी पड़ी है मतलब
You got the
माइन शाफ्ट है हमारे आजू बाजू में
range. Overall, Piper just a great match.
वैसे तो अच्छी बात है कि हम लोग ऐसी रिस्पॉन्ड हुआ है कि सारे बायोम्स हमारे आजू बाजू में ही है तो इतना कुछ टेंशन है नहीं
Trying to take advantage.
लेकिन फिर भी
Obviously, a very
बेसिक चीजें तो बनानी ही पड़ेगी ना पहले
see it there. He's simply making some insane connections throughout that whole set.
Yeah, again, a choppy as well on the squeak mid. Incredible performance from him with 2 opening kills in this set alone. And some great pickups overall, really good value. That was Menmi's 1v2, got one, nearly got the second. But yeah, it was a bit complicated. I feel like that ground bomb got rushed a little bit, similar to at the end here. There was some potential, you know, but obviously, you know, the gas limiting his movement. Ground bomb only has
एंडरमैन ढूंढना भी मुश्किल है
nice try. I respect the ground pick here, but
देखते हैं
work out as planned and stats wise.
अभी तक तो मैंने एक बार भी मॉब्स को स्पॉन होने नहीं दिया है क्योंकि अभी हम बेसिक जगह पर हैं अभी तो मैंने घर भी नहीं बनाया मैंने विलेजर्स को रखने के लिए विलेजर्स के लिए घर बना दिया है लेकिन अपना खुद का बेस नहीं बनाया है
In knockout, right? It's more about those.
अभी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं मतलब लगेगा टाइम अगर तुम सोच रहे हो कि सब चीजें बस तुरंत हो जाएंगी तो ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है और ना मैं ऐसे स्पीड रन करने के मूड में हूँ
Comes to kills and
अभी क्योंकि स्पीड रन वो लोग करते हैं जिनको माइनक्राफ्ट का पूरा आइडिया हो कि कौन सी चीज कैसे बनती है किस चीज से क्या फायदा है क्या नुकसान है जिनको पूरा चीजें पता हो
a good
हमको बेसिक आता है
yeah,
कि कैसा तोड़ते हैं कैसा बनाते हैं ये हमको बेसिक आता है
very
किस चीज से क्या बनता है हमको जीरो आइडिया कि मतलब कौन से एन्चेंटमेंट ज्यादा फायदा है किस चीज पर जीरो आइडिया मुझे
To see it again on Shooting Star just because of how well he performed. I think this is a really interesting.
या फिर कौन सा पोर्शन क्या चीज डालने से बनता है वो भी मुझे जीरो आइडिया है
So last time could be very good candidates here. This is a
सिर्फ मुझे बेसिक आइडिया है कि हाँ भाई पोर्शंस होते हैं
positions.
कुछ कुछ चेस्ट वगैरह होती हैं कुछ अलग अलग मटेरियल वगैरह होते हैं वो सब चीजें हमको पता है
On trap, and if you're really great at
स्पीड रन वो लोग कर सकते हैं जिनको पूरा आइडिया है कि भाई ये चीज बनाना है ये चीज काम आएगी
end up
और
doing
बस
the bands
पहुंच जाएंगे जैसे कुछ लोग जो है
on Crow
क्या बनाते हैं फायर पोर्शन
available camp.
जिससे वो लावा में भी गिरे तब भी उनको कोई फर्क ना पड़े तो हमें वो चीज बनाने में टाइम लगेगा
first pick a brawler we have yet to
अगर वो चीज हम कर चुके हैं एक बार फिर भले ही स्पीड रन भले ही एक दिन में कर दें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं
iconic brawlers of the region of Zeta division particularly as well, but Milkrio back in the days as well. An incredible max and definitely still is. Meant me going for the Gene, so quite simple Brawl Stars on the side of a Tour Chan Club going for Gene Max, but I really don't mind it, to be completely honest. It is a strong combination, not the hardest to play, although mechanics do come in play still a decent bit, especially for the max, and I feel like that is a chance for Taro Chan to try to get that pop-off moment. Milkrio still full smiles, showing that Taro, they know that they still have a shot at this one, although both Lola and Bell are challenging brawlers to face here, as Zeta Division 0 is going to bring them in the mix.
I am curious to see too if they bring out the other gadget as well on the side of ACC. We saw it a little earlier today. The sneaky sneakers were a very interesting one to kind of see. A lot of the times we see that phase shift. I also like this combination of the Bell and the Lola. If you're going to pick Lola, you might as well pick up one of the best sharpshooters, if not one of the only ones left, especially one that has bounce shots that can do quite well into Lola. And to finish off the ACC composition, they're going with Byron. This is a brawler that's continued to be played in this region. And a little earlier, you know, I was a little more questioning it. I think in this composition, it works just because you're kind of limited on what sharpshooters are out there. So somebody like Max inherently, it's not the one that he kind of used to be.
हाइड्रा
I feel like Bounty's also
पहली बात तो ये हाइड्रा खयास कौन है मुझे वही आइडिया नहीं
like
हाइड्रा जरूर पता है हाइड्रा क्लैन है
reload speed, right? So I don't feel like it matters as much on you know something like Bounty, where usually you have a bit more time to reset and get back to full ammo anyways. So I think it's still decent.
Brawl
It's
Stars.
gonna be quite as good in a
बढ़िया है.
like a bell, but that super is still very deadly and can open up some situations or save yourself or your
So he's a content creator
tricky situations.
for
as
Brawl
well.
Stars.
So,
I drug
I
him.
don't like it. We'll have to see how this works out as we do see that first kill from Tensai utilizing his range and width of his attacks very efficiently as well there. And right now, Tensai does take a bit of damage. Is gonna super out. We'll go for just a little fly over there, pay them a visit, then fall back safely on their side.
Damage amplifier connection, 2 heals, not enough, and a wasted super. Oh, that's gotta hurt for ACC. Great plays by Zeta Division 0. They're the only ones with kills on the board right now. They need to be careful though. Dempsey is lurking with a super available. Tensai needs to be careful not to overstep. Kuru placing down a gadget as well for a little extra defensive effort. Phase shift away from Menmi, and Jean with only 150 HP. Milcreo falling weak, and again with that damage amplifier, things looking really good for Zeta Division 0 as they are honing in on some great offense and another pickup there.
Those long-range pinches are deadly from Zeta. 25 seconds left in this one. 5 stars in favor of Zeta Division 0. Taro Chan Club, if they don't want to give up a match point or
Oh, इसके पास वो है.
test this one, a Chappie is going to go down. Only a 3-star difference, but that means that no matter what, they need either 2 kills or a kill on Kuru, and that's assuming no one goes down for a Taro.
5, 4,
Dem's
3,
cool, but he's
2,
forced to
1.
same situation for,
Oh भाई, Blue Star ने बचा लिया इनको.
but one was
He made world record jail
means match.
double to 7-4. उससे होता क्या है? Is he playing
6 in the end.
any esports thing?
Pick up Tensai though and the teammate.
ये एज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर लोग पता नहीं क्या क्या रिकॉर्ड बनाते रहते हैं, और जो स्ट्रीम नहीं भी करते हैं वो लोग भी पता नहीं कितने सारे वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड बनाए बैठे हुए हैं जिन्हें कोई जानता भी नहीं है.
Make sure they can comfortably grab.
लेकिन उससे होता क्या है?
Rayo already being forced away as Kuru is taking this left-hand side, bobbing and weaving, just giving them some hard times as the movement is too good right now. Creo falling weak along with Mimi, who's forcing this back right corner. Now Choppy can lay down some pressure here with the high DPS of Lola.
भाई गुड भाई, क्या बचा है बाहर?
Healed him up a little bit.
बाहर तो क्या ही बचा है?
Space to move. Tensai and Kuru putting a lot of pressure down on this left-hand side.
Tensai for some long-range shots.
हाँ सीखिए इंडिया का.
Kuro does have super as well, which means he
देखो.
just gets a single tag on someone. Can get them low enough,
काफी सारे कंटेंट क्रिएटर होते हैं
secure that kill.
जो फेमस भी हैं,
Movement speed, but
लेकिन
then that is
उसकी वजह से गेम तो प्रमोट नहीं हो रहा है क्योंकि वो एज ई स्पोर्ट्स प्लेयर फेमस नहीं है.
stars still
इंडिया में से वही लोग फेमस माने जाते हैं फिलहाल के लिए जो उस चीज से पैसा कमा रहे हैं.
trying their best to snatch it away from their side, but so far not successful at it just yet. Still plenty enough time for a kill to come true and things to change.
Zeta Division 0 really only needs one good push here. I imagine they're just timing this just right. And now Byron gonna fall. Kuru landing 3 straight shots. Menmi with a little super action to try and get them some speed. Tensai taking to the sky now as Dempsey does have that super available. Just very close into the range of that. Phase shift forward. Menmi getting shredded though. Kuru picking up a kill again on Democreo. And now things looking tough here. 15 seconds to go as ACC is looking to keep their tournament lives in stake.
And look at how good that Janet gadget is. He still has a spare one too, by the way, just in case this one was taken out. And the value, the space it creates.
GG's. And with that,
Very good
they go on to the
on
finals.
the side of Zeta Division 0, but that is gonna be it for this
22 सबसे उनके.
3-0, only one game. We have a Terror Chan Club.
बढ़िया भाई.
One of
अरे 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 टेंसाई भाई क्या हो गया?
all Zeta Division 0. 6 in a row. Clean stuff from them, and yet another monthly final, grand final locked in. Question is now, will their counterpart be able to join them there for yet another Zeta versus Zeta matchup?
Yeah, very likely could happen, but Z0 3-0. Oh my gosh. I mean, what a performance here overall. I think at the beginning we saw a little bit of momentum coming in for ACC, but to be honest with you, I think after that, Zeta Division 0 made some good adjustments. They got their feet under them and just kind of took off here, landing some really good kills. It came close in game number 1. However, Zeta Division 0 in this set, we're just landing the shots. I feel like they timed their momentum just right, got a good push at the end here, picked up the kills they need, and big factor for that was Kuru picking up 2 kills in the Mukreo in that last one.
Impressive stuff from Zeta Division 0, and I don't even want to say it still impresses us because we're just used to that from those guys at this point. But the fact that they can be so consistent at it as well, you know, and just look good while doing so as well. MVP voted and will go to Tensai, and very much deserved as well. I mean, maybe a bit more quiet in this final set, but besides that, he had plenty of moments where he definitely shined on the Piper earlier as well. So great work from the guys over at
GTA का क्या हुआ?
all around.
GTA देखते हैं, खेलेंगे, time मिलेगा तो.
I believe, if I
अभी तो
correctly, I think they only dropped a single game so far.
second screen की दिक्कत है ना.
It is a pretty dominant statement. If
उसका
anything,
एक बार solution हो जाए,
in that top form,
तो फिर
looking to
खेल
get
सकते हैं.
another monthly fight.
जटिए
Well, they're certainly giving themselves
जटिए खेल लेंगे जटिए.
aren't done just yet. Still have their grand finals to play, and before we get to there, we need to find out who they will be facing.
That's right. And Rising Sun Esports going to be playing up next against Zeta Division 1. And Rising Sun Esports has made this matchup very interesting before. In the past, it's come very close, I believe, even to a match point at, you know, kind of a 3-2 stake. But Zeta Division 1 are MSI champions. They're still defending a title, and I am sure they are looking to play against their sister team of Zeta Division 0. Again, it's been 2-2. Zeta Division 0 have gotten the last couple, but that's no excuse for Zeta Division 1. They have still been performing incredibly. However, in quarterfinal number 1, as you can see there, it was our only 2-1 matchup. Definitely a matchup to watch. One of the better ones this month, if not for the year, for Zeta Division 1. They were really pushing that first set, Teddy.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, Zeta Division 1, I have to say, so far, not as convincing as Zeta Division 0. Just a little bit more of a struggle in their quarterfinal match. Some moments where it felt like they were just maybe, you know, a little overconfident, which is really not a trait that we know Zeta Division 1 for, but it did feel at times like, you know, they were kind of there like, yeah, we won this, it's going to be fine, and then they lose the game, they lose the next one, they lose the one after that. I think they lost 3 in a row at some point, and then they're able to, you know, calm things down and be the collected, calm Zeta we know, win 2 in a row, take the match. A bit of a rocky start, whereas Rising Sun Esports, I have to say, they looked quite strong today as well, so this could be a challenge and a half. But I'm looking forward for this one because Rising Sun Esports, they're a really solid team with some very solid players overall. I want to see their best performance because I think they have a shot here against Zeta Division 1.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely think Wahoshi, Aaron, and Ryohi, all very solid players, and they've been very consistent throughout the year. I think the reason they're doing so well in the leaderboards because they've made a few grand finals, some semifinal appearance too, and again, they've challenged some of these really good teams like Zeta Division 1, especially early on in the year. Key factor for that as well. This is really the time to step it up again. It's really a race between Zeta Division 0 and the overall leaderboard region right now. This is the time. It is crunch time. Everybody trying to clinch up those spots. Now is the time to get a win over a rival like Zeta Division 1 if it's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, Zeta need no introducing. Tempo, one of the most emblematic players of 2021, and definitely not failing, you know, to deliver here in the to as his teammates. I mean, they aren't to be underestimated either. This team, MSI champions for this year, was a player that was world champion from last year. I believe all of them world finalists as well. So they're a top tier team. They really, really are. And today, even though they've had a bit of a rocky start in that quarterfinal, I think getting a, you know, maybe a safer and more convincing semifinal could go a long way if they want to have that Zeta matchup in the grand finals and have the edge there. So that starts right now, because so far I have to say I'm not the most convinced by Zeta Division 0, purely from today's performance.
Yeah, Zeta Division 1 were certainly challenged in that first quarterfinal, which is really something we haven't seen happen.
I'm going in.
Zeta Division 0, the only team that has actually beat them
No idea.
this entire year, and it's only happened twice.
Chalo,
I think
top पानी की
the
bottle.
strength of not only this region, but those two teams in particular. I think they both are great candidates to go ahead and try and win themselves a Worlds if they keep up what they're doing, and that's how confident I feel like this region has been. And Rising Sun Esports, one of the few teams that have kind of challenged these guys. And again, we've seen it before. I definitely think they have a good chance here, but they're really gonna have to show up, especially in some of these newer maps. In this matchup in particular, we're starting out with Open Zone, which is a map that is a brand new to this month. It's been really interesting to see this one develop. What have been your takeaways so far, Teddy, from what we've seen on this map?
Yeah, I mean, you know, don't let the map trick you, because it's very, very open, don't get me wrong, but those bushes on the sides can be very important to utilize as well. It can really give you a lot of control and lets you surprise your opponents if you get close enough. So you always want to keep that in check, and that's why a lot of you know, abilities that can remove some of those bushes are going to go a long way. So yeah, you want to keep that into account, because it's one of the best ways of catching your opponents off guard. If you have the speed gear as well, just have a little bit extra mobility and some easier dodges for whoever plays that lane. So I think it's one of the most unique aspects to this one. As besides those, it's a very, very open map. So you have to be very careful in how you proceed. And if you have a way of taking care of those bushes, I think it can give you a very big advantage early on.
This is kind of a deceptive map to me in the sense that I feel like when you look at it, right, you're thinking sharpshooter all the time. But honestly, I've seen a lot of compositions revolve around brawlers like Max. You get some area control ones like Crow, Pam, and as you see there, those are some of the top pick rates. And one I'm definitely looking out for here too. Kind of a sneaky pick here is Stu. A lot of teams are utilizing that speed zone to give them some extra mobility, and especially in the wide open like this, it helps them dodge a ton. When you're going into sharpshooters, you're either kind of mold with that comp, you gotta go with what's traditional and really try and land your shots, or when they zig, you zag. You go with a brawler choice that is going to make it very difficult for their sharpshooters to hit. It looks like the Rising Sun Esports are not going with either sharpshooters, quite the opposite. In fact, I think that's one reason why Pam can be so solid, just because it's so hard to take her down. You get the area control from the healing station, plus that bonus HP you get with the heals. I think overall Pam can apply a lot of pressure here. I think Rising Sun with two brawlers that could do quite well in this map.
Yeah, I think as well, you know, if your lanes are doing all right and you have a Pam mid, you can just place that healing station behind the walls, and it's just really hard to push back. We'll see the Bonnie make an appearance here. It's a welcome one for sure, as is a very strong brawler, a bit more sharpshooter while remaining somewhat tanky. Usually it's been really good on bushier maps as well because of that speed gear. I don't think it's going to be as good here to try to mitigate with the slowness that the brawler is going to bring with his setup in general. We have a final pick here from ZETA Division 1. Let's see what they go for as they're looking to complete their comp. And it's going to be the Bell. I think that's a pretty wise one to try to deal maybe with the Pam and the healing station, get some nice bounce. And a Mark always goes a long way, whether it's against a Pam or a Carl. They're very good targets for that Mark, and it can just be very useful in helping taking them down.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what picks number 6 is. Off the top of my head, a Piper could be pretty solid in that Bell matchup. They don't have to worry about going against somebody like Pam, who's a pretty good counter. Could be interesting to see, and they're actually going to run the Stu. Something I was looking out for earlier, and again, I think they're kind of taking the opposite. Again, when you look at this map, and when I first
published video games of the like of the commandos,
sharpshooters, but that's not really the case. I
Tomb Raider or
pick up
Dex,
a couple
and
brawlers
was later absorbed by
often together, and
Square
it is that they make it out on the
Phoenix.
stage with Janet.
Released the first person shooter
Good pickup to go.
called Project IGI back in 2000.
I think overall some good
पता नहीं मेरे को शूटर गेम इतना ज़्यादा
path to victory.
पसंद नहीं आते, इसलिए शायद मैंने ध्यान दिया नहीं
I agree. I think a lot of mechanics in it as well with some of those long range brawlers. Obviously, stuff like Stu and Carl as well can be challenging to play at this high level. And so far, a couple more connections from ZETA, but it's been Waochi with more dominance present in the mid. Might get shut down here. Good gadget from Tempo. Only Ryohei left alive. Nearly goes down to Tempo. Tempo going for super. Is not quite able to get the pickup on Ryohei, which will be able to heal up a little bit. Rising Sun Esports, they do have a 40% lead, which is definitely not negligible.
Yeah, and it feels like the kills have been pretty even overall, but Wahoshi with a lot of tankiness, they've got that extra speed. I feel like they've just been cycling somebody on this hot zone at all times, and they played a really good job at objective. However, ZETA Division 1, all 3 brawlers up. Rising Sun's Aaron going to be dashing forward with the pickaxe. Ryogi now cornered in this left-hand side. Tatampo popping the super, getting a takedown. Goku with one of his own, and Rising Sun ending up on top of things there. Aaron picking up the final brawl.
This Rising Sun is easily
over a 50.
winning.
Wow, that is impressive from Rising Sun Esports because I mean, in an upset situation, in an underdog situation,
GG's.
a first game into your hands is impressive enough. When it's like a 70% lead in hot zone, it's even more impressive. And that was an incredibly solid lead start from them, just very convincing. Got 50% captured before ZETA even stepped into the zone. And I think that ZETA, they can't afford to do that mistake again. And I think a big merit to it as well just is from that speed zone. The speed booster placed down by Ryohei is just so tough to deal with. ZETA Division 1 have no way of taking it out of the equation. And until then, it just gives them that extra mobility to stay and dodge properly into the zone. 30% here picked up by Rising Sun, again, before ZETA Division 1 even step into the zone.
Yeah, I chatted with an NA professional, and they really like this speed zone too. And I think that's one of the reasons that Stu is getting such an uptick. Been a very solid brawler for a long time. But when you pair it with somebody like Pam, for example, who's not inherently the fastest brawler, pretty tanky, doesn't do some insane damage from far away, it really helps make those dodges stay up even longer. And they pair that with Aaron and Stu, who have a lot of mobility. However, ZETA Division 1 really capturing this zone quite well. All three brawlers still standing as they pick up 2 kills. Aaron going to be forced away onto this right-hand side. He's going to be lurking, but doesn't go to show. It's still going to be a ZETA Division 1 with a commanding lead right now as Wahoshi has stepped back up.
Why he's not using the super?
Tempo in 1 versus 2. Pump super. Probably not going to do the most with it. Besides, get back to a safe position. Aggression from Aaron. But a jump out from Goku. It's not going to be any kills, but it does create some space. Ryohei is able to get the follow-up. Genji versus Ryohei, 1v1. Genji gets tagged. It's a 1-for-1 trade as Aaron is there to third party. And Rising Sun are so close behind, actually taking over the lead now. As a matter of fact, Aaron was a big pickup onto the tempo, and this might just be what gets Rising Sun the first set.
Ryohei was maneuvering himself very well there. A good takedown, double kill though. This just got
By 97%.
percent for Rising Sun, but they still have to get in there for a few percentage points. Moyagoku with a lot of HP here. A takedown on Ryohei. Aaron now popping the super. Will he have enough time?
Oh, GG's.
There, but it caught awfully close. And Rising Sun Esports 2-0, taking a very close first set.
Yeah, it felt like ZETA might just come back from this one, but Rising Sun doing a really good job overall, shutting down any ideas of a comeback in this set and taking it, as a matter of fact, which, I mean, again, just to insist on it, ZETA Division 1, they haven't given away that many sets so far this year, already 2 so far today. And yeah, it's starting to look a little bit dangerous and finicky. A bit rough around the edges for ZETA as Rising Sun Esports. I mean, they're far from being done here, but that was a strong first set, and if they were able to just come in even earlier, it could have been more convincing on that second game. So it's looking pretty good on their end. Now, sure, this is just one set, you know, it's one draft. Things are going to be changing around, but Rising Sun, I mean, they were hoping for a banger of a start, and they definitely got it so far.
Wow, and take a look at this. Otampo with 9 kills. However, Aaron, Ryohei, and Wahoshi all going to work here, but especially Aaron as a big note there. He's also got the Carl hat on, but overall, really well played. I think, you know, ZETA Division 1 with the more comfortable, more meta brawlers, right? They had Janet and Bonnie, which again, can't reiterate it enough. It's really hard to get both those brawlers on your squad, but I love this combination that Rising Sun Esports played. I think it's a couple brawlers that have shown up a lot more across practices that I've seen and even in other regions competitions at this point. So valuable, even for his utilities, already very good. Ryohei was just in and out with that super, very impressive stuff overall. And Aaron on the Carl, man, it was something to watch. A great brawler and a great player.
Definitely so. I mean, I think that on the side of Rising Sun, they kept things a little bit more simple, and it just worked out really nicely for them. Yeah, I don't know, maybe they somewhat baited ZETA into going both Janet and Bonnie, trying to make them feel like, you know, those are the strongest picks, or individual picks rather, available now, but they went more for some synergy on the side of Rising Sun, and it paid off for sure. Gem Grab on Double Swoosh is going to be up next. A very different map for sure, going from the very open zone to not so very open map around here. A lot of bushes, some quite nervous action around the mid in general, as you end up having some very close combat in general, just because those walls are quite tied up together. So I like this map a lot. I think that we saw, what was it, ZETA earlier that we saw struggling a little bit on this one? I don't believe so, but it is a map where I can see some room for some comebacks as well, and for some upsets too. So Rising Sun, this is their opportunity to just strike and strike hard. Try to get that second set in a row. Already quite deep into the draft though. We have a first pick Stu on the side of ZETA Division 1. Rising Sun Esports going for the penny and the bow.
This is another map where I've really seen Stu played a ton. And again, I wouldn't be surprised to see that speed zone come out, taking advantage of the hidden ability in those bushy grasses. I think that Bo and Penny here are going to be very solid as well. Of course, Bo, even with the top pick rate here, often going to escape that ban stage, but still somebody that definitely deserves to be played. I think a Bo mid could work here. I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a Penny mid here. I think they've got a little bit of flexibility in their options. Carl going to be the next selection for ZETA Division 1. And we'll see what they do to round out pick number 5. I think pretty solid starts for both sides, though.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's half bad here for either side. I do like the call pick here a lot. I think it can be a very strong one, especially in the right hands. And in ZETA Division 1, there aren't really any wrong hands, to be completely honest with you. Moya are going to go for the Surge. I like it. It's a little bit risky. I mean, I always say the same about Surge, especially since it's rework, where it can be a bit tricky to get to that second stage. And more often than not, I end up seeing Surges that are just not able to hit stage 2 until very late. I do like the fact that with speed gear on this map, you can kind of mitigate for it a little bit by being quite speedy early on. And once you actually hit, tiers 2, 3, 4, you'll be speeding in those bushes. We'll see Aaron go for the tower as a response. Not a pick we see the most on Double Swoosh at the moment, but I do think it's a welcome one. It's a very fun brawler that also has the capability of really turning things around if you can hit one of those big impact pools. So I feel like both sides have it quite all right. I think for me on ZETA Division 1, it's kind of going to depend on how their setup time is going to be. If they can get that surge to pop off early enough, I feel like they might have a real shot at it.
Yeah, they definitely got to charge up that surge early, which is exactly what Shatampo is going to do here. And I imagine that Taro was also a pick into both Stu and the surge. Traditionally, the gadget is really going to do a good job at countering single shot brawlers, which both Stu and surge are definitely candidates for. It's not stopping Moyagoku, though. Picks up another one. They are excelling with this Stu in the mid. Shatampo once again getting some good tags in there along with Moyagoku. Rising Sun really feeling the pressure right now as they have complete mid control for the side of ZETA Division 1 and already getting up to that tier 3 with the gadget, tier 4 for Shatampo.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing a lot from ZETA, and honestly, I mean, when it comes down to the mid matchup as well, I much prefer the Stu in the mid rather than the Penny. I think Penny is a very good brawler, but it just doesn't have any of the mobility that other brawlers like Max and Stu have, and that are some of the most meta picks on this map, so it's gonna struggle to match that sort of aggressivity, because right now Moyagoku, whenever things get a little tricky, he can just dash out, and it's very safe approach from ZETA, and I think it's kind of a calm diff here. To me, a lot
GG's.
that Penny mid just not being
First match closer for
survivability.
ZETA.
But the lanes were kind of getting folded as well, and ZETA just doing a really good job. I have to say as well, Moyagoku, incredible job on the surge. Hit stage 3 like 15 seconds into the game. I mean stage 3 because he was, using the gadget that gives an extra stage, but still, like incredibly quickly, and just gets out of that, early stage surge nightmare.
Yeah, and this lane matchup on the left-hand side is going to continue to be a tough one, as Carl's going to be able to shred through every single one of those minis that Tara kind of throws down. The Shades won't be able to excel as much here, and I'm sure they're looking for that matchup onto somebody like Surge. Chitampo, though, off to a little bit of a slower start. It is not going to stop ZETA Division 1, though, from picking up a gym lead. It's going to be 4-1, a little more even of a matchup, but like you said, it is going to be really tough for Penny to make connections on the Moya Goku, who's playing a brawler that this team uses a lot. This region is known for playing and has some insane mobility with those supers. For Penny, that can be a tough task. Chitampo now getting a good pinch. Aaron is going to fall. Hoshi is going to be the next victim here. Only one more tag will do the trick. Comes close, but Chitampo picking up the kill. Ryohi with a super on the left-hand side, though. Kenji still able to survive, though, and now a 7-2 lead for ZETA Division 1.
Yeah, Aaron gonna get pinched as well. This is gonna help secure an early countdown.
Easy match.
Gems are gonna be split amongst Kenji and Moya Goku, so two potential targets to take down, but with very little time and still a lot of mobility. Some gadgets left on Kenji, and Moya Goku just free to dash away.
Oh,
Does get taken out. Kenji is able to get the trade, does get the gems secured as well, and still Rising Sun with a countdown to interrupt. Have a bit more time to do so, but are so far away on the downside of the map, and Kenji's just hiding in a bush. This is going to be game and set. Picked up by ZETA Division 1.
GG's.
Much better looking than the first set. A bit of a chance there to interrupt the countdown at first, but afterwards it still really felt in control of ZETA Division, because one lonely player with like 500 HP is not going to make it out of their spawn. So it was a very convincing set from ZETA Division 1, and more in line with what we expected to see from them today, that they somewhat failed to deliver in some of our previous sets today as well, whether it was in this match or the quarterfinal. Let's see if they, manage to keep up and hold on to that sort of dominance, or if we might actually see Rising Sun strike back.
Yeah, some good stuff coming here from ZETA Division 1. And again, I did like that Tara selection. It's not something we've seen too much, but you mentioned it before. It's a dynamic super, a game-changing super, and they just never really got into spots where they could take advantage of that, or at least lead themselves to a win. I think Surge definitely excelled here, and I loved the Stu mid. Again, it's a brawler I can't harp on enough that I feel like is going to continue to rise in a lot of regions metas right now. And not just because Stu's a decent brawler, but again, that speed zone is utilized a ton on a lot of different maps. Double swoosh, definitely one of them, as you can see there.
Yeah, I also really like this comp from ZETA. A very fun approach as well to double swoosh, and I think the mix of Surge with speed gear as well as the speed zone from the Stu gave him every chance to get that super and stage 2 unlocked very early on. And I think as a Surge, that's one of the pitfalls you'll tend to fall into, that you go Surge expecting to be on that stage 4, jumping around and getting kill after kill, where most of the time you end up finishing the game maybe even on stage 1, and I think it really mitigated for that problem. So I like this a lot from ZETA Division. Kills wise as well, it's just kind of night and day across the board. ZETA just much more dominant.
Yeah, I think the kills really illustrates how much of a set that was in favor of ZETA Division 1. Quite the opposite of what we saw from Rising Sun Esports in our first set. I still think they're in a competitive spot, but you really got to take it one set at a time. You're never really out of harm's way with ZETA Division 1. We've seen them make reverse sweeps. I believe against this team early on in the year even. Nobody is safe against a Titan like this. I think they're overall a very solid roster, still doing some good stuff. They can turn things around again in Gold Arm Gulch, but essentially 1-1 overall. They're going to need to fight for it once again, as it's going to be all tied up.
Yeah, that early lead picked up by Rising Sun is gone, but I mean, still a 1-1 probably better than
Golden Gulch.
asking for, as they are a step closer to victory inside of Rising Sun. Sure, that set they would have loved to pick up, but even when it comes down to the gameplay, they really like it wasn't in their hands very much, and see, that was just much more dominant. I think the draft went a long way in helping them out for this one. So let's see if either side are able to pick up a big advantage now, as are going to be banned out by Rising Sun. ZETA Division 1, the Bonnie, the Gene, and the Jen, the first pick of I'm struggling for a second. My
tick?
goodness, tick. Yeah, the tick. Yeah, I was thinking like I had it, you know, and then I was there like, who's that guy? But yeah, the tick, obviously from Rio. I think it's an interesting first, to be completely honest. Like it's not one we see a whole lot. Fang pickup as well. With brawlers like Gale open, that's gonna be dangerous.
Hello, RGW
With
gamers.
the tick, which is a little more unusual.
Legend is back.
I think it's a bad pick. I'm kind of
It's a legend, bhai.
throwers this early.
It's a legend.
More so, I'm not used to seeing Fang this early either. I'm with you. They are at risk of leaving themselves open to a counter. I think Gale would be an excellent candidate. I know Shatampo is very well versed in the
Legends
He's great on a lot of different,
never die.
but I think it is a little interesting that
Legends never die.
both sides and a little more at least untraditional in the order that players are being drafted. I don't think anything crazy of the bans really. I'm curious to see what picks 4 and 5 are. There's still some good choices available. They could go the sharpshooter route. Maybe they try and go ahead and grab that Gale with one of these 2 picks too. I think that would be an excellent choice to kind of get rid of that Fang pick.
Yeah, I think Gale is almost going to be a must here for Rising Sun Esports. We'll see if they actually commit to it. I feel like ZETA as well could maybe have gone Gale instead of the bow if they really want to insist on that Fang. It's a bit of a risk, but there's only one way to find out as Rising Sun. The ball is in their hands, but they need some sort of answer here to the Fang because Max, albeit not the Wars brawler against it, can kind of phase shift her way out. Still, kind of one. Okay.
Oh, this.
I mean, you know, talk about an anti-Fang measure. Introducing Otis. As far as I'm concerned, the first Otis that I'm watching in monthly finals. But I've only casted East Asia and obviously CISA and ANZ. So there might be some I missed, but it's the first one I see.
Yeah, welcome to the BSC and welcome in Mortis. What a matchup we've got on our hands. One thing to note too that we really haven't talked about at all. Otis did recently get a new star power. It was very hyped up by a lot of people coming into this week. I saw some tests and scrims, and I'll be honest, I don't think teams have quite figured it out yet. Rising Sun might be the first. The one time I will say though that I saw this pick shine in practice was at the end games of Knockout. If you release that super, you're going to be able to stun your opponents out of taking any shots as that zone closes in. Easy target at the end there. Maybe that's what they're going for into the Fang or other brawlers, but Moyagoku is picking up the Mortis. This just got very spicy, Teddy.
Yeah, I love it. I honestly love it. We'll see how this actually pans out. But early on, was it a tick mania from Aaron, or was I just not paying attention? I'm not sure. I hope not. I don't think it was. I just think he shot twice at the same place, so it kind of looked like it. Some eliminations though, and all of them going the way of Rising Sun. Moyagoku is going down.
Otis super available and a couple on their side, but instead it's Mortis popping off and really cycling out a super and a kill there. Nicely done overall, and now it's a tied ball game. All the brawlers for ZETA Division 1 are going to be in the right side, despite Rio. He's scouting out the left. A group up from Rising Sun. Shatampo with a super available, and again, this is a brawler that we love to see him play. He's such a great player overall, and on any brawlers where it's really a win condition for the team, they're going to be counting on him here to play quite well. Moyagoku with a super charged up as well, and both sides looking to find the first pickup of Rising Sun, particularly in a defensive position right now.
Yeah. Let's see. As we had an Otis gadget placed down. What are you gonna do the most in that position? Do have 2 supers available for ZETA. Wahoshi would love to have his that could potentially turn on some of that aggression. Moyagoku goes in though, finds one, gets traded out. Tempo is one shot as well, but well, she can't quite find him, but Aaron will. 2 versus 1, Kenji in a 1v2 here. Not one that he should be able to win.
Boom.
So he will try.
Did this.
He will get shut down. Rising
Hey.
are gonna be taking this one.
Yeah, and for a first time for Otis, pretty strong start. I think overall that was a great first game from Rising Sun, and definitely resembling a little bit more of what we saw in set number 1. Really a good bounce back for them, and now with a chance to take this third set, it would be a really big pickup for them to get a 2-1 lead. You need all you can get against a team like ZETA Division 1, who are passing up a super in the back right-hand side. They're going to let Mortis just hang tight for a second, and Aaron is going to recognize this and now try and rush Chitampo out of this situation. Dash forward and some aggression coming in. Otis is going to go down, and now all three brawlers for ZETA to 1 pursuing Ryohei, and Aaron shots landing, but not a ton of damage so far. Aaron, Ryohei have a lot cut out for them as all the brawlers are ensuing them.
I just love the fact that Chitampo was sitting on the totem while his teammates were pretty much in a 2v3, and they still managed to take a kill that was not traded and have the advantage from there on, you know? Like, you would imagine that they would kind of struggle, but somehow ZETA make it work. Big round for them to pick up. They don't want to let Rising Sun Esports get too much momentum and maybe even get a second set into their hands. Ryohei has super, but he's the only one in his team that does. Kenji has his mind as well. Gonna be patient before placing them down.
Chitampo now pursuing on this left-hand side. Speed coming in though, dash forward from Fang, and is gonna pick up one onto Otis. Now Chitampo getting aggressive too. Two brawlers left standing. They do manage very low HP. Phase shift away. They will survive, and now it is going to be a 2v2 situation. Moya Goku dashing forward, Gadget going out as well. Tick falls. It's just Ryohei up, and he is gonna be tasked with a 1v2. However, Moya Goku with the super as well. Things are getting very hairy here for Rising Sun Esports.
GG's.
Yeah, Moya Goku seals the deal.
Hello now. Brawl starts once again.
And we're
I'm just watching ZETA division matches.
tied up.
I'm not playing Brawl Stars by myself.
In this
I'm just
set. Next game.
watching
Important one is momentum could shift.
ZETA division's matches. Nothing else.
Really want to lock in that second set and relieve a little bit of that pressure onto them.
Yeah, what a play there from Kenji. A real demonstration of what they can do with the shots. And Moya Goku on the Fang. Just some good stuff coming in with all of those supers being cycled. They're really taking advantage of their aggressive composition. Kenji is going to be pinched here, though. Chitampo getting it.
Oh, jeez.
If not going to be enough, Ryohei's going to fall. Moya Goku with it.
Oh, yeah.
And ZETA 1 cleaning up. They are one round away now from it taking this third set. What a bounce back from them.
Yeah, impressive stuff from ZETA Division. Ryohei again as the sole member from Rising Sun was super in his hands. Good one for the team.
Nice.
Use it to escape, and escape he won't. Chitampo able to assassinate him, leaving Wahoshi and Aaron in a 2v3,
And GG's.
again gets the second.
One more set goes to
On team wide from
ZETA 1.
Chitampo. Second set secured by ZETA Division 1 for a 2-1 lead now in their favor. A set away from joining their twin sister in the grand finals.
That's right, and I think overall some interesting stuff. I don't want to quite give up on Otis yet per se, but I think it had its moments. I think there were times where it definitely struggled, but the Mortis gameplay and the Fang gameplay was honestly unreal. I feel like if you're picking an MVP for that set, it's so difficult just because both had absolute highlight reels. There were so many instances where the Fang super, the kick just paid off. You saw Chitampo cycling out those Mortis supers, taking advantage of the max at times. They made it look easy to play such sometimes difficult brawlers, especially something like Mortis we never see in the competitive meta. They really made it work. Great job overall to ZETA Division 1, who have now found themselves with a 1-set lead.
Yeah, no, that was just a terrific job overall from ZETA Division 1. It looked a little more rocky in the first game, but again, you know, I feel like so far the trend as well for ZETA Division 1 has been to start a little bit slow in some of the sets and then adjust. And that adjustment is what keeps them in the mix more often than not. 2-1 now in their favor, and I mean, stats-wise, it's not even close, really. Just so many more kills, 7 in total for the side of Rising Sun, whereas we have 16 for ZETA Division. That's over double the amount. So yeah, ZETA Division just much better in this one, much more convincing rounds picked up by their side as well, whereas Rising Sun, often it would be there would be very little in it, and ZETA Division 1 just sweeping when they take those rounds. Great stuff on their end. And again, I have to say, man, Chitampo just coming in with a triple kill towards the end is exactly what you expect from him and his team in general. Nice to see them delivering here.
Yeah, I feel like each of Zeta Division 1's members kind of played their role perfectly. You would kind of expect the Mortis to have the least amount of damage in a situation like this, and with Kenji with the most, and Chitampo and Moyogoku just kind of there to clean things up, get those final kills, cycle those supers, dash forwards, whatever it was, they were there to answer. And there were a lot of times where early on, Rising Sun looked pretty good in that set. They made adjustments, they bounced back, they played their composition very well. Overall, just not unusual performances at all, just continuing to be so impressive. And this again goes to demonstrate why Zeta Division 1 are the caliber of team that they are.
Definitely so. It hasn't been the easiest day for them, to be completely honest. Of a rocky first quarterfinal match, almost lost that one, double match point to take it in the end, but they did manage to take it. This one as well, first set, not quite in their hands, but second and third both going their way. Their chance, to make it still somewhat clean here. Wizardry, Rising Sun. I mean, they don't want any of that. They want to see that fifth set come to fruition, and for that they need this one to go in their pocket. No more room for mistakes here for Rising Sun. We'll have the Penny, the Crow, the Janet, met out by Rising Sun. Zeta Division 1 taking on Sprout, Bonnie, and Squeak from the equation.
The Sprout one seems a little more targeted to me. I don't really expect to see a ton of throwers. I think Sprout is the only one I reasonably could expect to see. Sometimes we'll see teams get very cheeky with the Sprout gameplay into the sharpshooters like Bell, Piper, brawlers like that Sprout does well into. Despite there being so few walls, it can be really good defensively though when you can utilize his super. I like this overall pickup of Stu once again though. I think even though Backyard Bowl is definitely a map that you look at, similar to like I said for Open Zone earlier, it just looks like sharpshooters would be good, but Stu can definitely be the way to get around that, take advantage of the speed zone, a lot of mobility, kind of similar concepts to what I was speaking on earlier. But Rising Sun Esports starting off with Leon and Bell. In the olden days when Backyard Bowl was in the blind format, this was very typical. It was Bell plus Crow and then Leon or Spike. That was kind of the good synergies with the sharpshooters that you ran. But I do like what Zeta Division 1 are doing. They're trying to pick brawlers that sharpshooters will struggle into a little bit, and two great pickups there to start.
Yeah, definitely so. Doubling down on, the chaos and speed that those brawlers like Stu and Max are going to be bringing to the table. A lot of aggression, and I'm kind of assuming that's how they want to play it out. When you just see the Stu, I thought maybe they would speed zone and play it very safe. But with the Max now as well, I feel like they have the potential to just off the bat go very aggressive, try to close the distance. It's going to be rough to join up, I think. There's two reasons for that. First of all, the game can get to a bit of a stalemate on Backyard Bowl. It is the map where 90% of BSC draws happen. So this stat is made up, by the way, but you guys get my point. And, having that buff can go a long way. But extra to that, you can nicely open up those walls again, and get that shot lined up with a supply drop that is almost unstoppable if placed correctly and timed correctly. So that can go a long way. Bo, pretty standard. A final pick here on the side of Rising Sun.
Yeah,
chances trying to just have a bit more balance in their team, and what is more balanced than Bo? Just very, very strong overall, but very versatile and can fill some of those holes that the comp had on the side of Rising Sun.
Yeah, I think one thing I do like to see when looking at compositions on this map is a wall break kind of goes a long way. And, you think of Colt and Brock, just not particularly the strongest. You could go with the Piper super, but Ryohei could be opening up the walls with the mines. Moyogoku could do the same with the super. I think both teams kind of have options here. And I see a lot of good win conditions for both sides. There's something I like to see in drafts. If they play their strategy right, there are definitely scenarios where both teams can excel and start things off. A lot of things transpiring in the mid. A shot landing on Chitampo there. Another one on the Kenji. Nearly another pickup. Gonna have to watch for the bounce shots. Gonna bring Kenji all the way down to 276 HP. And now Rising Sun can get aggressive here. Kenji gonna be forced into the goal. Hoji getting aggressive here. Bucket for Rising Sun. Well played there in a 1-0 lead for game number 1.
What a start from Rising Sun. What a start was the Invis Leon as well to pick up that ball and slot it in. Great teamwork from Rising Sun, but some nice eliminations here. Supply drop coming down. Kenji gonna try to slot this one in.
Oh, GG's.
And picks up the ball, slots it in. Nice dribble from Kenji to secure this one. 1-1 now. as both teams are a goal away from putting a lot of pressure onto their opponents, whether it's a match point or a set point. That could go a long way. 1 goal in it.
Yeah, and Ryohi now placing down these mines. Kenji gonna actually open it up a little bit. However, they are gonna pop up in this back right-hand corner. That ball dangerously. Aaron picks it up, and for the
Close one.
Rising Sun strike
Easy goal.
taking game number 1.
Got a little messy. But Rising Sun, they are able to thrive in that environment, it seems. We'll pick this one up, and now they're just a game away from pushing ZETA Division 1 to their limit, to a 5th and final set. But way to make that happen. A good chunk of damage early on. A pickup as well. Moyagoku not straight out just yet. The tempo and Kenji, low HP. The both of them. Kenji was a nice but the action is on the other side, and Wahochi is just able to slot it in, walk it through, and there is gonna be goal advantage here for Rising Sun. This could be very big for them. That 5th set could be what takes them to the grand finals.
Wow, Aaron is just landing so many good snipes, and that's so difficult to do on this Stu and Max. A very difficult matchup at times, just considering how quick they are, the quick movements with Stu. I mean, overall, very tough stuff. Moyagoku and Kenji barely able to survive this, and good dodges as well. They actually pick up Aaron, too. Kenji does have the speed available if they want to press for this goal. Wahochi, though, now respawning, and additionally, Moyagoku hit up by that damage amplifier. It's a really tough situation for him. So tempo, very weak as well. Does manage to stay alive, dashing out of harm's way. Wahochi gonna fall weak. Does manage to get the pickup though, and they have ball control. I imagine they're gonna pocket this now and just continue to play some good defense. A continued 1-0 lead for Rising Sun Esports.
Rising Sun want to play it safe here, and that's why those mines are placed down literally on the ball, which is cornered. So can't get much worse here for ZETA, at least positioning wise. A nice 3v1 situation as well. Obviously ball is kind of, you know, far behind, so they can't really go for that. You're gonna be playing time here, as ZETA has about 40 seconds left here to open things up. Aaron takes a heavy chunk of damage that could make things a bit more dangerous. Wahochi doesn't get spotted.
30 seconds remaining. Come on, go for the goal.
Still man advantage for Rising Sun. Pick up yet another kill, and this defensive positioning is doing them wonders. So far, ZETA are just completely unable to slip through that wall of defense from Rising Sun.
Yeah, with 13 seconds to go, Kenji now trying to make a move. He's actually in the goal side. Jitabo getting really aggressive here too. They do manage to find a pickup. Is going to die to the mine. Moyagoku with full HP. Damage amplifier connecting though. Aaron with the defense. And placed down.
That was good.
To grab that ball. Rising Sun Esports are back, and they have forced a set number 5.
My goodness, it felt for a little bit like ZETA Division 0. This could be it. But Rising Sun, they didn't even give them a chance in this Robo set, not giving a single game away.
And we are on to the final match
Actually having a shot at getting
for the semi-finals, of course.
this match. We'll have to see though. It's going to be layer cake and bounty for our final set. But again, impressive performance from Rising Sun Esports all around. I mean, even if they were to lose this match, it's still a very impressive performance from them, looking super solid. And you know, we mentioned it at the start of the broadcast that today was going to be, you know, not quite the final day for some teams, but a time where you really want to start popping off if you want to realistically have a shot at going to Worlds at the end of the years. There's only 2 slots and there's only 2 ZETA teams, so you know, it's quite filled up so far. But teams like Rising Sun, they're only about 100 points behind the pack. If they manage to make it to the finals here, that would start closing the gap. Were they even to win the grand finals, they would be very close to the other 2 ZETA teams in that top 3. So this is a very big day for Rising Sun, and if they manage to take this next set here, I mean, that could be the miracle run they were hoping for this year.
That's a great point. I think this really goes to show how important this match is for both teams. ZETA Division 1 with only a 3-point lead right now against ZETA Division 0, and things are going to get intense here. Rising Sun have once again forced a set 5. We've been in this situation before. So far, Zeta Division 1 has gotten the best of them in this spot. However, today they've really been pushed, and I'm really impressed with Rising Sun. I think overall solid drafts, especially on maps 1 and 4, of course, the ones that they won. But I do think the way that they played Backyard Bowl was way more aggressive, and Aaron, for me, was just tapping on the bell. Insane plays overall, and they're really challenging this mechanically gifted team of Zeta Division 1. Will they be the first team other than Zeta Division 0 to beat them in the BSC this year? I think they have a good chance.
I think I want to believe it, you know, I want to believe it, but it is Zeta Division 1 that they are facing, and they are a team that, you know, just brings an incredible amount of talent to the Brawl Stars scene. So it's gonna be a challenge, that's for sure. But Layer Kick, here we come as our draft kicks in. We will not be seeing any Bell, nor any Max or Mortis, as a matter of fact, all banned out by Rising Sun. Zeta taking out the Janet, the Jean, and the Bonnie. And that leads us to a first pick of Squeak on the side of Rising Sun, which I like, but it's definitely an interesting one.
Hello Divya, what's up?
It's a tough one.
कितने
I
points
think it can work.
हैं आपके फर्स्ट मैच देखा आपने जेटा डिवीजन 0 का?
Imagine that's kind of why the
नहीं, मैंने मिस कर दिया,
ended up
लेकिन हाँ सेमीफाइनल जरूर देखा.
Mortis could excel against it, and I think they recognize this. It seems to me that they kind of wanted to go with this Squeak really early on. Otherwise, I'm not really sure why they would ban somebody like Mortis, who's very uncommonly played here, even though we did see it kind of pop off for Zeta Division 1 earlier to respond. They're going to be going with a tick first pick, as the old ready set nursery rhyme kind of goes, and I think they're gonna grab, yeah, it's gonna be a Penny here. I think overall pretty solid choice. I definitely think that was one of the brawlers in mind, and as you saw it on the screen too, very high pick rate, and for a reason. If they apply a lot of pressure, if they get that super early, that Penny turret goes down, and unless you have a wall break force on your side to get rid of it, it can be really pesky to deal with throughout an entire set.
Yeah, I think this might be also why the tick is picked up. I mean, it's a decent brawler here, but it would be one of the most suitable options to deal with those Penny Mortars. So I kind of like it being on the side of Zeta Division 1, plus Zeta trying to somewhat utilize that Mortis ban from Rising Sun against them, since now it's not an option to counter their tick. But obviously it is going to be matched by a Sprout. Not the biggest surprise there. However, that final pick is going to be an important one, because right now we do have some squishier, not the highest DPS brawlers of the planet. Fang is going to be mitigating that a little bit, bringing in quite a bit more.
गेल के सुपर के साथ बहुत मस्त खेला,
creating some
परफेक्टली यूज ना सुपर ऑफ गेल. क्या बात, बढ़िया.
getting pushed to
वो तो ऑलरेडी पहुंच ही चुके हैं फाइनल्स में, तो देखते हैं किससे लड़ाई करने वाले हैं जेटा वाले. क्या जेटा वर्सेस जेटा फिर से होगा? एंड जो भी ये सेट जीतेगा वो फाइनल पहुंच जाएगा और जेटा डिवीजन 0 से फाइट करेगा. So let's see.
This is not only going to do
क्या
well
होने वाला है.
playing the Fang, a shotgun brawler, typically a favorable matchup against Fang. It's also going to be a very aggressive brawler, and again, one of the reasons I believe they kind of banned out that Mortis was to deal with brawlers who could excel against Squeak and Sprout, who are a little more on the squishy side. If Moyagoku can excel with this brawler, or whoever ends up playing it for Zeta Division 1, I think they can really create some tough matchups. They're going to have to watch for the aggression. I love Daryl State in the game right now. That role that he can charge passively and with shots is so helpful, and it is going to be Shatampo running that, a man on a mission, I'm sure. And this is a win or go home situations. Both teams, this is an important month, need this win. And to start things off, Rising Sun are going to be picking up that blue star.
All right, mortar turret.
Oh, bhai, Fang OP.
Connection actually from Mahochi, but he's in a tough position here. Gonna be complicated to get out of there alive. Will end up falling indeed. And 2-for-1 interaction going the way of Zeta, picking up the early lead here. Let's see if Rising Sun can turn things around soon, or if it's gonna be a bit more of a challenge than that. The dash in here from Mahochi again, followed up with a gadget, another trade, but again, those trades are not being too much in favor of Rising Sun.
Oh, cool.
And there's another kill from Zeta Division, extending that lead to 7 stars. Get 4 now as Moyagoku gets sniped out of existence by Wahochi's dash.
Kenji barely survived that. You see 4 stars on both Kenji and Chitampo again. Chitampo just able to take advantage of these favorable matchups. I think it'd be a huge contributor and a reason if Zeta Division are able to win, why they do so. Kenji continuing to land these shots. Tick can just heal up so quickly as well. You really got to strike quickly. Even though he has low HP, he's able to get back up to the top very quickly. Wall going down for Aaron on this right-hand side, which is great for him. But Wahoshi now just kind of has to hang back. Can't really do much with these walls up. And the penny turret down as well to apply some
Nice.
you on the aggressive side of things and does manage to pick up Sprout. 15 seconds to go. And Wahoshi does have a super available. Going into a Daryl could be quite tough here as they need to get some stars on the board. Tick super going down. Wahoshi being pushed back. Aaron trying to get within striking shots for Squeak.
Bang for gaya.
Though 11
लगता तो
now a match
वो ही है मेन Zeta versus Zeta. देखते हैं अगर Zeta ये मैच जीत गई
For this match,
तो सीधे फाइनल में Zeta versus Zeta होने वाला है.
don't want to lose it now.
Last match.
Don't want to risk a double match point. We know what can happen in those. Aaron pushing forward for that blue star. It seems like it is going to pay off. Nearly gets an elimination in the process as well. Kenji overextends a little bit. Could be dangerous, but Ryohei was a big pickup onto Moya Goku.
Boom.
Follow-up onto Kenji does get traded out at the end by the Tick Head, but it is a 1-star lead in favor of our Rising Sun Esports. This is their chance at locking in a match point, but that lead, they got to keep it for quite a while longer. And
क्या ये लास्ट मैच में डिसाइड होगा कि कौन जीतने वाला है? क्योंकि लग तो ऐसे ही रहा है.
And a roll in from Zitampo, but a defensive wall placed by Aaron. He could be pinched here. Good dodge on the original Sprout shot, but too much coming in. Wahoshi's going to be picked up there as well in a 2v2 situation. The Squeak
Oh 9-9 हो गया, but blue star नहीं है.
down in time. Still a blue star advantage for Rising Sun Esports, but the aggression really coming in as Chitampo's going to be dashing forward. Wahoshi doing coming out in trades everywhere. It's going to end with
1 point का lead मिल गया है, लेकिन 1 मिनट अभी बाकी है. Easily comeback हो सकता है.
has his wall.
1 point lead is not that much.
Rising Sun only need 1 star. They have the blue star on their side as well, so some potential 1-for-1 trades could go to their advantage as well. Aaron calling back his wall, placing it more aggressively. The penny mortar not gonna last for too long. A barrel is forced out as well. It's a little bit less utility on the side of Zeta. Still has another one available though, so can't over-aggress just yet either. There's still some last hurrahs.
Oh,
Daryl has a super in hand. Dash in now from Aochi. He takes quite a bit of damage, but the tempo is low as well. They can't get the kill just yet. That Squeak super does not connect.
and GG's, they goes to the finals.
Gonna secure it, takes
And it's Zeta versus Zeta.
or gonna go to the grand finals once again. Then they will be facing Zeta Division 0 in the end. Kenji excited about this one as well, knows just how close it got towards the end.
yeah, another really close one for Rising Sun. This isn't the first time Rising Sun, obviously with a great performance, they once again pushed the top team in the region to their limits. And Zeta Division 1 had to step forward, and they absolutely did so. A lot of respect to Rising Sun once again, though. We'll have to see how the months progress and how much of a chance they'll have, at least in terms of math and acquiring points with only a couple months left to go. But Zeta Division 1 ultimately get the job done. Good job overall, and man, what an intense match.
It really was. It really was. I mean, no.
And we are on to the finals
One of the
with Zeta versus Zeta.
not into our grand finals yet, so keep that into account.
Zeta बोलो, Zeta बोलो, क्या है ये?
Most people,
Cheetah.
you know, it says a lot that we all three casters today got all predictions right so far, I believe. So we you know, we saw this coming, but the way it came down to this conclusion is very interesting, with some teams being incredibly competitive, like Rising Sun. Now, we obviously earlier today had Vertilian nearly took down Zeta Division 1, so it's going to be very much polar opposites when it
What's
comes
the
to
final skin in Deep Sea Brawl Pass?
Zeta finals, because Zeta Division 0, they
No idea.
in the
क्या है
entire
भाई?
Zeta Division
Deep Sea.
dropped 3, they won 5, it's still, you know, par.
पैरोटिस ही है, I guess. क्योंकि ओटिस आया था ब्रॉल, हाँ पैरोटिस.
From Zeta Division 1, that's
चलो बढ़िया.
more across the board. So that's why
पिछली बार 0 जीती थी, इस बार कौन जीतता है देखते हैं.
from Zeta Division 1,
Okay.
only 4 kills, if you really call that
Pero-
one. It matches the top fragger from Rising Sun. Usually, that pretty much says it all.
Agreed.
देखो अगर जीटा डिवीजन 1 नहीं जीतती है तो अपनी ओवरऑल रैंकिंग से नीचे आएगी.
Ends up being that MVP, and it's going to be Shitampo. I think a great choice as well. 5-2, played the Daryl really well, and the Mortis earlier. Those are a couple notable ones for me, and had some insane plays. He's really putting a highlight reel on with these aggressive and tanky.
ओटिस.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you know, he's one of the flashiest players in the game, one of the strongest one in general as well. So I'm, you know, always very, very happy to see him in action, and we'll have yet another grand.
अरे भाई ये सबसे डिफिकल्ट चॉइस होती है कि आप किसको वोट करेंगे,
Bless us with some
जीटा
more.
0 को या जीटा 1 को. ये दोनों ही शानदार टीम है और जब जीटा वर्सेस जीटा हो
In just a moment,
तो ही किसको ही वोट करोगे.
Mr. Reddy himself. Reddy, what were we thinking of? Semi-finals. Actually, some pretty good stuff.
Oh.
Oh, I mean, it was great stuff. If you're a spectator, it was absolutely amazing spectacle. Now, if you're the players, yikes, you don't really have that much
किसको
time.
करोगे वोट.
Reset your mental, take a step
बड़ा
back,
ही कंफ्यूजन वाला मामला है
and reset for the grand finals because
क्योंकि दोनों ही जीटा है,
what we wished for.
दोनों ही
Zeta v
बढ़िया खेलते हैं. गो विथ
and finals and
जीटा डिवीजन 0. चलिए तो हम आपके साथ चलते हैं और जीटा डिवीजन 0 को वोट कर सकते हैं.
I think on the bottom side of the bracket,
हालांकि उनको सिर्फ 44% वोट मिले हैं, लेकिन ठीक है,
though, Teddy.
देखते हैं क्या होता है आगे.
Definitely so. I mean, I think it kind of goes into that storyline, right? Where the final result is kind of what we expected, but the way we got here is where things got a little tricky. Zeta Division 1, the only team really to struggle so far today, besides teams that then obviously lost, but 2-1, 3-2, especially, you know, some against Vertilian, which, let's be honest, are not the most experienced and threatening team in the region in general. That's showing some signs of weaknesses on the side of Zeta Division 1. No, I'm not saying they're bad or they're done here in the grand finals, that they will lose for sure to 0, because, you know, if anything, those are probably the two teams that scrim the most and that know each other the best. So it gets to that personal level. But I am saying that right now, Zeta Division 1 clearly did not look as convincing as Zeta Division 0.
मेरे को 0 अच्छी लगती है क्योंकि वो हर बार
without a
कुछ
doubt,
नया
I think a
करते
lot
हैं.
of that comes from simply their weaknesses.
वो तो ठीक है,
Zeta 1
लेकिन पता नहीं क्यों जेटा डिवीजन 1 ज्यादा ही खतरनाक खेलने लगती है, एकदम अलग
number 1 target
हटके जो देखने लायक होते हैं. उफ,
in this region.
मजा तो आता ही है, और खासकर अगर 2-2 जीटा हो आजू सामने
3 points behind at the beginning.
तो ये वाले मैच तो और भी शानदार होने ही वाले हैं. और ये बेस्ट ऑफ 5 है
He's in the lead in terms
तो
of
पता नहीं कितना लंबा चलेगा ये.
in terms of points on the scoreboard, Kenny.
Yeah, points, head-to-head matchups, all of the above. This is
HP
for both sides, as getting that double point win goes a long way. 200 points tallied onto your score is huge, and whoever ends up winning this is going to take the lead for the region. I feel like there's a couple ways to look at this. Zeta Division 0, look, they didn't struggle as much going into the day. I don't believe they even dropped a set. And Zeta Division 1 arguably had a little bit harder seeding, though. I think there's a couple ways to look at it, and I certainly won't blame either side for what they end up picking.
No doubt. I mean, Rising Sun is going to be a tough team to go up against. They're number 3 in the region for a good reason. They're simply good. But for Zeta 1 to struggle against them as much as they did is a little bit out of character for these guys. And for Zeta 0 to have such a swimmingly good time on the top side of the bracket, yes, we can break it down and say like Rising Sun was difficult, but let's not forget the quarterfinals. That went to a double match point, and
ये देखा
3 games taken
First
in a row
match.
by the opposing
ये का HP वाला, हाँ देखा देखा.
they are looking a little bit uncertain in our eyes, especially because our attention has been directly focused on them for such a long time. Kenji, Moegoku, Shitetampo, no strangers to the big stage. We'll see though, are they able to take that victory in the grand finals in triumph over Zeta 0 after a couple of months where they did not take a win, Teddy?
Yeah, you know, it's been a bit of a crazy year so far for both Zeta teams.
ये 1v3 किया था ये साइट एम्पो ने.
Monthly finals wins in a row for Zeta Division 1, but they got shut down after that. Not able to win one since. This is their chance to come back for some more action. Or maybe, you know, for Zeta Division 0 to just assert some more dominance. The trend has been that Zeta Division 0 have been slowly looking better and better and making up for that early lead from Zeta Division 1. As we mentioned countless times today already, there's only 3 points separating both teams right now. It is Zeta Division 1, I believe, that's just barely on top still. But this final match here for today is gonna have like either one team be in the lead. No matter who it is, it's gonna be the one that wins this grand final. So quite important in just showing, you know, some of the dominance back into this region.
Not just that, it's pretty much going to determine who is going to be in the lead for the rest of the year, unless it comes down to some RNG and who faces who in the quarterfinals. Big match coming up. Teddy, unfortunately, we got to say goodbye to you for now, but we'll check back in with you later after the grand finals match for some post-match analysis too. Kenny, though, it's you and I now. And a couple of safes, and this map is pretty much guaranteed with a high safe at the end of it. It's all about that mid fight, and when you bring it down to Z0 versus Z,
But वो जो Teddy है,
best be
उसकी smile ऐसा fake क्यों लगती है ऐसे? ऐसे कर लेता है.
and there are going to be very, very few deaths throughout this entire set.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting strategies going into safe.
ठीक है, कुछ लोग आदत होती है ऐसे मुंह बंद करने की.
That maybe you don't see it
नॉर्मल मुंह करते हैं ये. स्माइल करते हो मुंह बंद करने की वजह
looking out for is
बड़ा ही अजीब लगता है.
option. It's somebody that's great utility. I've seen rise in a lot of other regions, and I called him this earlier, an unsung hero. Lola definitely on my list as well as one of the
जैसे जोस्ती किसी ने यहाँ फेविकोल चिपका दिया, बोले हंस बेटा.
It is a strategy
हंसने के बाद चिपका दिया.
frequently be used to kind of counter those sharp shooters if you're really comfortable with it. And we know both of these Zeta Division teams are very good on that brawler. Very traditional bans, I would say, as well. Nothing too crazy. A choppy starting things off with the Lola.
I wonder what they'll go for pick 2 and 3. Bell is always going to be a safe pick, and Max is
और फिर गाना भी बना सकते हैं. चिपका दे सैया फेविकोल से. तो उसने कुछ ज्यादा ही सीरियस ले लिया लगता
so
है.
is Colonel Refs.
फेविकोल ही चिपका दिया.
Would be available to Zeta Division 0 should Zeta Division 1 not go
हालांकि कुछ और ही चिपकाने की बात हुई थी फेविकोल से, लेकिन यहाँ पर उसके शायद
control for these guys.
फोटो को ही चिपका दिया गया फेविकोल से.
Knowledge having some good damage when they're able to get on the safe.
लगता है बॉलीवुड को कुछ ज्यादा ही फॉलो करता है वो.
Shtetampo will go for the
बिग फैन होगा.
He's able to get good damage in close range. He's able to get great damage at long range too, and he can assemble some control once he puts down that turret. Zeta Division 0 can think of a way that they can counter out the penny. There are multiple ways to deal with the turret. They just got to make sure they don't leave themselves too vulnerable to a 6th pick for a counter from Z1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little interesting to see what they end up going with here. They're going to take the Piper, which is very solid on this map, and a great matchup into the Bell. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. I am still looking out for that Colonel Ruffs, and there it is. I think it's going to be a good synergy. They need a wall break, and now they've got 2 options. And if Zeta Division 1 really wants a wall break on their side, they're kind of running out of options here. In this region in particular, Brock isn't somebody that's played too frequently. I don't think he's the strongest brawler, but in terms of the strategy, they oftentimes you're going to see teams run. They're trying to open up that right-hand side. You got a really skinny, narrow lane in the middle that you can escape your spawn, and a really skinny one on the left. So opening up that map and getting yourselves a little more access to that mid is really important. I am very curious to see what this 6
Brock.
are going to go with the Brock. And I think it makes a lot of sense. It's not something I've seen either of these teams particularly scrim too much or practice with, but I think it just makes a lot of sense. I really think having a wall break is important, especially given that Zeta Division 0 has 2 options on their side.
I think also Moya Goku, the mentality
क्या हुआ अब तक?
can pretty much negate the
कुछ नहीं, हमेशा की तरह जेटा वर्सेस जेटा होने वाला है.
single one of them.
और ये पहला मैच होगा
Said Shtetampo has pretty
सेट 1 का
so
फॉर द फाइनल मैच.
10
फाइनल का
offensive capabilities,
पहला मैच
really even defensive when it
आपकी
comes
स्क्रीन पर
unless he starts
ये रहा.
that second meteors rain from the sky. Zeta Division 0 though with
अरे ये जोस्टी शॉट क्यों खा रहा है?
side. Kuru's going to be the main brawler to deal damage to the safe. From the side of Z1, ZETA probably has the best DPS on the safe, especially
बट 10 से खड़े हो गए शॉट स्टार तो फिर
of his kit.
ये ब्रोस वाले हर बार सेम क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं क्या स्कोर पॉइंट्स
But so
हाँ मोस्टली
he's not going to be breaking open the wall versus the choppy.
एक जो रहेगा आपका मंथ का
Very well could.
उस मंथ वही क्वेश्चन आएंगे मोस्ट प्रोबेबली
Rocket laces, which would be a little bit unusual.
भले आप कौन से ही रीजन का मैच देख रहे हो
Good late
Doesn't matter.
versus the choppy.
Yeah, I think that would be a really unusual selection. There's really no aggressive brawler that's going to be up in your face on the side of ZETA Division 0. A big pickup there as well. Wall break going down for a choppy. Kenji landing a tag. And it is going to force ZETA 0 to play some defense. However, Kuru is a problem on this left-hand side. And I think it's the result of not quite opening up that wall on the side. You know, Moyagoku can only go one direction, and Kuru is just going to keep cutting them off. Tensai now popping a gadget as well. And still no damage for the side of ZETA Division 0 quite yet. And a little bit for ZETA Division 1 as this gadget is going to force Shatampo away.
Here comes the ego and the freeze frame too. It's basically unbeatable. Big damage onto Moyagoku. Kuru is not going to get too far forward, but Tensai will be able to lay a couple of shots into that safe. 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost count. It's 75, or rather 79% remaining on that safe, and that's a distinct 7% advantage for Z0. I'm telling you, it's bounty with a safe at the end of it. You're not trying to collect stars. You're just trying to get a little damage trickle
good
in.
shot.
And here comes the freeze frame. That ego is going to be unbeatable, and same seems to go for Moyagoku, and even more damage onto that safe. 68% remain. Tensai just stands still. Let Side Tampo or Tampo get the kill on him. I don't think that was on purpose.
डॉगी तो आज हर मैच में दिखा वो तो दिखता ही है भाई
Hopefully, there's not much time left on the clock.
ई स्पोर्ट्स में कर्नर रूप्स का अलग ही खौफ है भाई साहब
As he picked up an insane kill there, kind of stands still, an easy shot for Shatampo, who already is a very good shot as it is, and now things getting very close here. A little bit of a base race style.
अलग ही रुतबा है
Shatampo is
कर्नर रूप्स का ई स्पोर्ट्स में
He does try and land a shot, 60% to 68. Shut
ओ भाई oh that was very close and we get division 1
day is ZETA Division 1.
it's the first set first match
That is super unlucky. I'm not exactly sure what happened for Shatampo at mid, but whatever it is, I think it might have actually cost him that precious few percentage points. That said, ZETA Division 1, they knew exactly what they were doing by picking Brock. And yeah, the Rocket Laces, we didn't see any wall break at all. And maybe this is to toy with Z0's mindset because they're expecting the wall break. Perhaps Z1 just anticipated that it would provide way too much value to Tensai, and they're just not going to run it, and pretty much getting the same value as Max's phase with
too stressed
is going to be quite valuable. Tensai's going to get tapped a little bit. Can't get pinched here. Moyagoku and Kenji can try to take him
Kenji stressed है कि नहीं वो मुझे नहीं पता but ये Tensai जानबूझ शॉट्स क्यों खा रहा था I don't know
side. Choppy won't get too much out of that gadget. Kenji takes a whole beating as well. And we also see these bear traps are laid down at mid. Great wall break by Tensai. And Shatampo is going to be feeling the pain. And we'll see the Rocket Laces away too. They still have the advantage, if only by 13%.
Yeah, and I feel like Kuru's done a great job on this left-hand side, oftentimes being pinched by Goku, and has really been able to hold his own and keep them from getting too aggressive. A penny turret down, though, is only going to make that more difficult as Moyagoku is stepping forward. Barrel being dropped is still going to be a takedown for a Choppy, and Shatampo and Ruffs are going to be on this right-hand side with the wide-open Tensai landing the shot, 300 HP. A Choppy picking up one as well, and now they are able to march forward. This is going to be an opportunity for ZETA 0 to get some control.
Big damage. Moyagoku gets tapped 2 times, instantly taken down. A chop.
और एक और GG's
Safe, same deal.
71% but नीचे भी shot पड़
From touching this safe up until now, though across the arena they are getting some good damage.
ओ 2% से lead में ZETA 1
Lead so far. Still plenty of Brawl Stars left. 35.
कैसे खाए Tensai ने ऐसा क्या
Super and a choppy
हमको भी चाहिए
one time. That
ओ भाई 1% difference.
Oh,
Only 1%.
Guru has to defend 2 lanes at once, and this is going to be rough, but he flexes over to the left side as well.
और खत्म.
Here's on the right
Finish.
side.
टाटा बाय बाय हो गया.
Down to the super to try and block things off.
14
One, don't let up for even a moment.
गया.
Kill onto Guru.
खत्म. टाटा बाय बाय. अरे मार ही नहीं रहा भाई. टेंस है देख लो.
Zeta
ये देखो.
will be
फुल ऑन. भाई मार ही नहीं रहा बंदा. वो उनने सोच के रखा है कि भाई
Wow, that was a
हमारे जीटा डिवीजन 1 वाले ही जाएंगे
aggression.
वर्ल्ड फाइनल्स में.
Sides. And you know, like you mentioned, it does kind of have that feel of Shooting Star, those sharpshooters really shining on this map as well.
बोला अटैक ही नहीं करने का आपने. तुम उड़ाओ से उड़ाओ.
Somebody like Lola excel for the side of Zeta Division 0. It was really competitive. I know at the end there it got a little out of hand with Zeta Division 1 taking that lead, but overall,
अबे पीला पानी क्यों पी रहा है?
both sides, this is exactly what I expect to see.
है शर्म नहीं आती पीला पानी पीते हुए.
Two familiar
पेट्रोल तो नहीं पी रहा. इतना महंगा चीज पी रहा है बैठ के.
Slugfest is absolutely
100 रुपए से ऊपर वाली चीज पी रहा है.
specifics though.
सही है भाई.
To choose a most valuable brawler for that last set, it's gotta be Brock. And across the way, probably Lola. The DPS brawlers did well, obviously they're gonna do a lot of damage versus the save.
दारू है.
They
सही है.
were able to access it very, very
यही तो करना होता है.
They had good help from their teammates.
अब मुझे तो फिक्सिंग लग रहा है.
Tampo was very smart with the use of
सुपर दे रहा फ्री.
little mobility and also to save
खुशी
himself
में पी रहा.
from some killing blows.
पता नहीं भाई खुशी में पी रहा गम में पी रहा क्या कर रहा है लेकिन ये टेंसा ही क्या कर रहा था मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं समझ में आया भाई.
As well, Brock doesn't have to be all
मतलब वो तो फ्री में शॉट्स खा रहा था
on the map.
स्टार्टिंग में जैसे मैंने बोला उस टाइम
Benefit from it pretty well.
फ्री में शॉट्स खा रहा था भाई. वो मार भी नहीं रहा था.
Interesting use of the Brock.
पता नहीं क्या करना चाहती है तो उसका लैग कर रहा होगा
Definitely not the gadget you expect to see, but
या
see
फिर
at the end of the game.
दोनों ही टीमें तो जेटा ही है. मतलब कोई भी जीते क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है. आना तो पैसा बॉस के पास में ही
We didn't see
है.
it the whole time, so it made sense that it finally came out. But again, just really surprising to see. I think a lot of creativity in showing that even for a region that doesn't necessarily play Brock as much, he's still got it. Shitampo is just going to be a menace. 33% and 6 kills there. Overall, a very solid team performance, and everybody kind of doing their part for both sides, to be honest with you.
And these percentages are actually just percentages of damage dealt to enemy brawlers. Ken G was doing a great job of locking things down to open up opportunities for Tampo to go absolutely ham on that save. Much of the same across the way, once again, for Lola. And I think both of these brawlers are ones that we can expect to see, maybe less so Brock than others, but I would be pretty surprised if Lola were not a major consideration for this next map, Ring of Fire. And this map can be a little inconsistent now when it comes to East Asia. I think the meta is pretty much locked in, but you put Z0,
स्ट्रीम लैब्स आज भी नहीं चल रहा.
pull out all the stops.
स्ट्रेस तमाचा मारना पड़ेगा. रुको
This is wise by Zeta
पीछे तमाचा मारेंगे ना तो चल जाएगा.
because this is one of Tensai's most powerful
स्ट्रीम
Go
लैब्स
for the Crow to boot.
OBS.
Zero had to think of a way to respond to this. Crow is not really the de facto best brawler on this map. He can maybe get some good mobility in the bushes, but it's a little bit mysterious to me, though the stats don't lie. It's a 32% pick rate, not necessarily a win rate though.
I think Crow's honestly one of the best players on this map. You're going to see it a lot. I am surprised to see it in Division 1, just in the sense when doing kind of a scouting report for this team, they've often paired Coral with Colette, just because Colette's going to be a counter into Carl. They'll often kind of take that side by side, and even earlier today, we saw what Shitampo can do on the Colette. I think overall that could be a really impressive strategy. Maybe it's not something they wanted to go with, and I think this is going to be a different approach that certainly works. Crow with his gadget can slow down offensive pushes. He's really easy to just send shots into that hot zone, and it's difficult to dodge. I think overall, Crow, one of the most slept on brawlers in the meta right now, and I think very arguably top 5.
And I gotta acknowledge my own bias here too, because Crow is a brawler that I don't really have a good grip on because he doesn't really do that much DPS, but he gets great control because he has that damage over time. It's a little bit at a time and it starts to stack up and it keeps you from playing aggressive. And if you're Z0 and Z1, both of these teams love to play on low health. They can't stay in there if they're on low health because they get trickled down by the poison from Crow. That said, Zeta Division 0 Zero have the 6th pick. Now, if they're stopped at a lot of different corners, I'm going to put this out there. Imagine if they went Poco. Imagine if we saw Protective Tunes Poco. I don't really think it's going to happen.
कुछ नहीं दिख रहा, दिखेगा भाई। स्ट्रीम लैब्स को मैं चाटा मारने गया,
It's probably not
तो
a
मार दूं
consideration.
थोड़ा तमाचे मारते फिर
It is going to be
दिखेगा।
interesting to see how
अब
they
देखो,
respond to this brawler.
जाग गया होगा।
I wouldn't hate
चैन से सुना है तो जाग जाओ।
some healing on a teammates, but also to counter out Carl.
ये क्या हो गया?
This
कुछ
is
नहीं
a
हुआ,
order for a 6th pick.
चाहिए होगा।
I would like to see a Bell pick here, to be honest with you, and that's exactly what they're
There
going
you
to
go.
do. I think that's going to be a really good selection. It's something this region is tending to choose a little bit more from sharpshooter standpoint, but also it's going to counter the Lola ego really well and the Colonel Ruff sandbags if they elect to go with it at this point. They've now got Carl and Bell that go with that. I imagine they're going to be running that Rocket Rain gadget. Can still apply a lot of pressure. I love the sandbags, but I think they're going to have to stray away from that at this point. I think overall, some good choices from Zeta Division 1, a very well-rounded comp. They've got the Crow and the Carl who can now get aggressive with Bell in the mid for a lot more control, can place down those nest eggs. I think overall some good stuff from Zeta Division 1, and the final response is going to be a Zeta Division 0 pick of Leon, a tried and true brawler. I think a very safe option on this map in general.
No doubt, especially if you can get into the enemy
ये
or
लाल लाल
to
क्यों
deal with, and
दिख रहा?
it's going to be pretty difficult for Bell to
लाल क्यों दिख रहा?
especially because she's probably one of the worst brawlers in the game for checking bushes or checking
वो मैं स्ट्रीम लैब्स को थोड़ी पिटाई करने गया था ना,
lollipop drop.
इसलिए लाल लाल आपको स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा था।
Be able to do way better
स्ट्रीम लैब्स की पिटाई कर दी, देखो सही हो गया, आ गया
range. Let's remember that.
चांद धंधे पे। मेरे छुट्टी लेके रखा था बिना बताए।
Lollipop drop on the left side. He's gonna have to play carefully versus Moya Goku. Try not to get tapped. Try to farm up that super at long range. So far, Zeta 1 has gotten some considerable capture on the point by comparison. Zeta Division 0 has Tensai push way forward here. There's a second lollipop drop coming out and a takedown from Ken G2. That's only one more lollipop drop available to a Choppy. He'll try to kind of change gears, moving over to the right side this time. Still, they have not really been able to walk around on this point, and with two brawlers slowed, it's going to be tough for Z0 to push back out of these bushes once Z1 have walked all over them.
And a wall break coming out for Zeta Division 0 on that left-hand side. Chitapo, though, looking to get aggressive here. Moya Goku hovering down in that mid area. Tensai is going to have to be careful here. There are 3 nest eggs down. Moya Goku finally going to fall. And a little capture coming in for Zeta Division 0. They need to watch out, though. Carl is still lurking. Takedown onto Kuru. A Choppy picking up one as well, though. And the invisibility going to pay off here as Moya Goku's going to be caught off guard. Jump in the air, though. A lollipop drop to protect himself. A Choppy still picking up the kill and barely surviving. 72 HP being the difference maker. And Zeta Division 1 making some good strides here, but 0 hot on their tails right now to make a catch-up.
Well, let's remind ourselves that we see how many gadgets on the side of Z1? It's just slows on their side, and they only have 1 left. So whatever
तो
control,
watch out उसका क्या कोड है?
you better hang on to it for the rest of the game, because it's going to be tough for them to get it back with no gadgets, which is something that Zeta 0 still has at their disposal, with the
टॉप
exception of
आवर्स
he's going to have to get around.
टॉप आवर्स को पूछ रहे हो क्या पूछ रहे हो?
Kuru still trying to get some long range damage. It might be the end of the line.
टॉप आवर्स लिखो विदाउट स्पेस लिखो।
Damage on both of these brawlers. Kenji's on low health, much the same for Shtetampo, but it's 2%. This is almost going to be impossible for Z
हाँ ऐसा
with Moya Goku
2% चाहिए उनको बस।
on such high health. Just a spin in would do it, but they don't even really need that. Just a good controlled takeover
Easy
is
peasy।
gonna do it, and Z1 gets their 3rd victory in a row.
Yeah, the damage was kind of already done there. It was a spot where there was just so little percentage that they needed. They could kind of just step it up there. Even a crow jump, if they charged up a super, probably would have been enough there. Really well played from Zeta Division 1. And again, I really like their draft. It's not that Zeta Division 0 picked bad brawlers, but I really enjoy these matchups. I think the Carl and the Bell response into Colonel Ruffs was good. And now we're going to see Chitampo getting really aggressive once again. Kuru going to be in trouble here, 616 HP. And a trade there as Kenji is going to land a shot as well. 2 brawlers for each side. A Choppy now flanking on the right-hand side. Kenji going to fall weak. A couple tags landing in. A Choppy, though, is going to be slowed down. And what was looking really good for Zeta Division 0 is now going to lead to a Zeta Division 1 kill. A dash forward once again. Pick up for Kuru, though. Going to fall onto that nest egg. And they're still going to be using those sandbags, but they thread the needle. Insane plays overall and so much action right now for both sides.
Choppy will get the takedown on the Carl into the back right. He can now make his way to the enemy side. If he knows where Moya Goku is, it's a free kill.
मेरा काम नहीं हो रहा क्या?
Kenji and Moya Goku gets a little cross-eyed, can't decide where he's gonna shoot.
और नहीं हो रहा है, क्यों काउंट नहीं हो रहा है?
Interaction, Zeta
सबका काउंट हो रहा है।
been forced to back off of mid. Though it's not the end of the game just yet. A Choppy can still get around on the left side. A good takedown onto Kinji is going to be very valuable for Zeta Zero. They do lose a Choppy, but they haven't lost control of mid just yet. Kinji's going to have to use this long-range damage that he has available to make this happen. He does have a super as well. Tensai's getting good dodges. There's the mark onto Tensai, but it's going to amplify all forms of damage coming in. Here's the Ego freeze frame as well. Forces Zeta 1 to back off the point. Could prove to be a good pinch opportunity for a Choppy. He does have his super available and pops it, but Moya Goku's still able to get the kill with his super, and Z1 are looking so strong here. Tensai, despite having that mark still hanging over his head, is going to keep on kicking, but Kuru is probably going to be the main brawler disrupting things to get a pinch in the back lines.
भाई ये लोग मार तो रहे हैं लेकिन मिडिल में कोई रहता ही नहीं है, बसता ही नहीं है मिडिल का.
Well, I would love to see a Choppy on these offensive kind of conversions pick up a few kills here. I think that's going to be very important. I don't think trading's enough at this point when you're down 25 or so %. Kuru now with another super going to be opening up this map and even more. Zeta Division 1 really with nowhere to hide. Jump in from Moya Goku. Tensai is going to fall, and once again control falling to the side of Zeta Division 1.
And a good takedown on Kuru is pretty much going to seal the fate of Z0. Z1 have this one. There's no coming back for Zeta Division 0. Not in set number 1. We're headed to set number 3. It's been a complete sweep all the way through so far for Z1. And let's be honest, we were skeptical of Z1 following their performance in the first couple of matches of the day, but versus Z0, they appear to be right in their
पेट्रोल पी रहा है बार-बार.
what they were
शर्म नहीं आती इसको.
what they prepared most
इसी की वजह से पेट्रोल महंगा हो रहा है.
matchup. At least
गाड़ी ज्यादा तो ये पी रहा है.
set 1 and set 2, it's been pretty dominant.
Yeah, it's been all Zeta Division 1 for the most part. And I think there are a couple of ways of looking at going into predictions. You know, Zeta Division 0 have had the momentum. They've won the last couple of matchups. They're performing really well overall. And you could see it as Zeta Division 1 maybe being challenged a little bit more, but you could also see it as a little bit tougher of a draw. We've seen Rising Sun perform better than any of those other teams that either of these foes have played so far today. But, you know, Zeta Division 1 are MSI champions for a reason. They are currently up 2-0 right now. But Zeta Division 0 are a team that is certainly capable of taking a stab at this win still. You're never out of it quite yet until the match is over for either of these teams. Such high ceilings and good performances. I think Beach Ball, we could very likely see Zeta Division 0 still have it in them to make a little bit of a comeback and definitely take a set off the board.
Same for me here, but that could be a bit of copium, right? I really want to see Zeta Division 0 succeed. I want to see a strong competitor for Zeta Division 1. And look, sometimes
secret of his energy.
Go through streams and
और हम यहाँ बूस्ट को एनर्जी समझ के पी रहे थे, तभी हम इतना आगे नहीं बढ़ पा रहे हैं. पेट्रोल पीना पड़ेगा.
Whatever. Big plays.
Petrol is the secret of my energy. Yeah.
Kills, and when it's hot zone, a kill is a great way to get control and a great way to drain your enemy's gadgets too. A theme that we saw recurring throughout that last set and even the one before it. It's been pretty much locked down by Zeta Division 1. In spite of some misplays they make every now and then, they make up for it by popping off when it matters the most. Beach Ball could be a speedy way to end things off. It could also be a speedy takeback of momentum by Zeta 0. Let's all remind ourselves that Zeta 0 has defeated Zeta 1 in the past couple of monthly finals. They've won the past couple of monthly finals too. What's at stake here in a large way is who is the king of the region right now, or who are the kings?
और अगर इस मैच में
Rosters
Zeta Division 1 जीतती है,
fans each
मैच यही खत्म हो जाएगा.
started with the draft for Beach Ball.
फिर तो हमको लिखना ही पड़ेगा. Petrol is the
Unique bands as well, and to start things,
power
it's gonna be Colonel
of
with the first
my energy.
I really like this selection. I think it's a little more common than people give it credit for. Colonel Ruffs off the bat doesn't really hold you to any one strategy. Again, a lot of utility, like I've mentioned before. I think the Carl response is going to be a very good one. I feel like the way this map has developed,
एक second रुको.
I think people might be a little bit surprised to see both Spike and Stu on this list, but honestly, it doesn't surprise me at all, at least watching practices for this region, for some other regions. Look, the speed zone is very valuable in this map. A lot of teams are using it, but Spike's going to show up here for a few reasons, kind of being a counter into that Stu and also into Surge because of Carl escalating through the meta. Other brawlers do too, and Spike definitely on this map is one of those candidates.
This is where the Colette ban is going to really hurt Zeta Division 0 because they banned it and then they didn't pick Carl. What's going on? They have to have something else up their sleeves because this is going to be a really, really tricky one. But when you've dug yourself just deep in this hole so much, it has to be for a good reason because Z0 does not make mistakes like this. So we'll see what is going to assist the Stu here in taking down a Carl, because at the moment, Stu can dash away from Carl. He doesn't have a stun, but he's able to dash away from Carl and establish some control that way. A Choppy can get a stun onto Carl if he uses his super. Pick number 5 is hopefully going to answer a lot of our questions, but it's going to be pretty much a split decision between countering things out. This is beautiful. This is amazing. I love the Stu here, or rather the Surge. I love the Surge because you're able to counter out Carl and you're able to counter out any other possible tank that could arrive for pick 6. Problem, it's simply hard to play. It is hard to get that first super as Surge, and that pretty much is going to dictate the pace of this game.
I've been on the sidelines shouting for Surge, and I'm kind of anticipating a Tara here for the last pick, possibly. I really think Surge is going to be a counter to Carl, but it could have fallen right into their hands. Tara would honestly counter all 3 of these brawlers. I am a little bit surprised not to see it since I've seen an uptick in it a little bit. I was thinking that the Tara pets would be a really good counter into all 3 of those and the sandbags if they're still going to be running them. Overall, though, Spike at the top of the list in terms of pick rate doesn't surprise me too much. But like you mentioned, when you see Colette off that board, you got to look elsewhere to deal with Carl. You got a couple popular options right now being Daryl and Surge. I like this draft coming in from Zeta Division 0, but a very well-rounded one for Zeta Division 1.
Same here. I love it. You got Spike, you got Life Plant. You can tank a few of the shots of Surge. You can tank a few of the shots of Stu. It's going to be a great brawler to play here. Problem, both teams are correct. They can definitely dodge out curveball shots. It's exactly what we see from Kuru already. Gets a couple of free shots on a Moya Goku. Great reaction there with the life plant from Moya Goku, but he still takes quite a bit of damage and has to back away on this lane. Tensai still is trying to get his first super at mid. Kenji's not going to hand it over willingly. Tensai asks for a lane swap on the right side, or perhaps tries to assist a Choppy a little bit. A pinch is probably going to be Tensai's gateway to getting this first super. One shot, that's 1/3 of the way there for Tensai, and if Kenji makes any more mistakes like this, they could feed Tensai his first super, and then all starts to snowball from there. There it is. Tensai also with the gadget active has level 3. Some more shots for him will be an actual level 3 if he keeps this up. Doesn't look like he is going to get his super, but the speed from level 2 is going to be instrumental for dodging out the curveball shots. Things are looking good for Z0 so far.
And I'm particularly looking at this Spike right now. It's going to be a great matchup into a couple brawlers here. Stu getting picked up by the pull, but not going to be taken down. It's actually going to be Zeta Division 0 who are holding off on defense. Moya Goku, a favorable matchup, but against 3 different brawlers, what can a guy do, especially when they're on the Zeta Division 0 side? 3 brawlers now standing for 0 as they are going to be moving past this midfield line.
If I'm Zeta 1 right now, I'm really, really scared of Tensai because he's got a whole lot of range, he's got a whole lot of damage, and he counters the heck out of Tampo. If he gets a lane swap, things will be pretty much ideal for him, though. Tampo can still play around the speed gear in these bushes fairly well. Choppy has to back up a whole lot. He probably only has 1 set of sandbags left. Here could come a super, though, as he looks to establish some control for himself. He's the only member of his team that is not powered up just yet, and on very low health, he might actually have to retreat and go for a self super. On the right side, though, we saw a brawler fall. It's a 3v2. Tensai's taking so much damage, he's gonna fall, actually, to Kenji on the right side. Kuru might arrive at just the right time. Tampo needs to get this in the goal. Kuru is gonna dash out of the way, actually, and Z1 are gonna concede, are gonna score a goal.
Play from Tampo there, really picking up a goal in the final moments. 10 seconds to go, and they need to stay alive. Moya Goku with the connection. Kuru on the left-hand side, super available. Pull from...
Oh my!
Oh my God!
Last second goal, bhai. Kya tha ye?
Gosh, and they're going to be going to overtime.
That is insane. How does this happen? Kuru has single-handedly redeemed himself in this match, and we head into overtime. Choppy on the mid lane is going to have to get another super out here to power up Tensai or Kuru, but Kuru is an absolute menace pushing forward on the left side. Tensai also using this range to his advantage, but he's faced versus 2 enemies with a super each.
GG's.
and a super ring.
हाँ, इतना करने के बाद भी गोल हो ही गया और ये हम लास्ट के लास्ट में पहुंच चुके हैं।
Zeta Zero made it quite close there. I mean, that goal was insane from Kuru, but overall,
क्या था ये?
well played. Chitampa
और अगर ये वाला मैच अगर जीटा डिवीजन 1 जीतती है तो यहीं कहीं फाइनल खत्म हो जाएगा और
to get himself a free goal. Insane play.
जीजी हो जाएगा।
Now marching down this left-hand side, take down onto Tinsai as well. Chitampa with a pass to Moyagoku.
ऊफ, ऊफ,
He can't respond in
क्या
time.
था ये?
Now Zeta Division 1 are 1 goal away from bringing it home.
And only 25 seconds into the game, Z0 are absolutely on the ropes. A Choppy on the left side can still push forward. We've seen good lane
They need a goal.
this entire
थोड़ा उनको एग्रेसिव खेलना ही होगा।
struggled a little bit at the beginning to get that first super out. Kenji might end up giving it
Oh, what a waste.
in the end. Tensai is one more shot away from getting that first upgrade.
Tenzo लालच है,
That is a
क्या
huge,
पता नहीं क्या कर रहा है।
not only a pull to confirm the kill, but a lamp blown
सब मजे कर रहा है, बोल रहा है
his own
पैसा तो कंपनी में ही आना है, क्या ही टेंशन लेने का।
down immediately after, and the offense is absolutely unrelenting. Moya Goku is gonna pass this ball forward. Shitambo comes
खत्म,
shot. No way! And Zeta 1 have done it. They are your
खत्म,
finals
टाटा,
champions here
बाय बाय, गुड बाय,
for August.
गया।
I mean, they didn't give us a break. Some insane goals coming out from the squad.
भाई इसका तो पहले कैमरा सही कराओ, इंटरनेट स्पीड सही कराओ, कितना लैग करता है बंदा।
Monthly finals and are back up top of the region once again. I mean, what a performance overall! Just some insane plays from both sides. I was just gasping for air at how much I was just caught off guard by these insane plays from both sides.
केंजी को बोलो टेंशन को भी पेट्रोल दे थोड़ा।
This might have been the fastest match of the entire
देखो अगर हमको उन्हें जिताना है
games here and there.
हमें उनके यहाँ टंकी लगवानी पड़ेगी पेट्रोल की,
6-0, okay.
सीधे पेट्रोल पंप भी लगवाना पड़ेगा।
Not think it was gonna go this fast.
भाई 0-3 से हरा दिया भाई, एक मैच तो जीत लेते।
Through dashing away from that shot, but he totally
असली एमवीपी तो यही था भाई, टेंसा जिसने मैच जितवाया लेकिन खुद को नहीं, दूसरी टीम को।
brought it back. This one was a
इसलिए हम उसको वोट देंगे टेंसा को।
to make it all the way forward. And this
बाकी को क्या है?
setup. Stetampo able to gadget forward, get that one in the goal. Just all around amazing stuff. These guys make Brawl Stars look like an art form.
I mean, the coordination, the takedowns, all of the above, everything was just so awesome to watch.
क्या ही था ये?
Every single goal had some emphasis on it. They really put some oomph on every single one of those. Not any traditional goal. I feel like Shatampa was really taking advantage of those Carl gadgets too. You saw it several times. A really impressive goal from the side of Zeta Division 0, but just so many amazing plays coming in from Zeta Division 1. This month was simply their month. You know, they may have struggled a little bit more throughout the day, but again, these guys brought it when it counted the most. 3-0 win. That puts a little exclamation mark on things.
Look how even things have been in terms of the damage percentage too. These teams are just very, very, very skilled. In fact, I think that these teams right here, all 6 of these players, and definitely some more around the globe, really push the limits of what is the skill cap of Brawl Stars. And for the moment, Zeta Division 1, you're of course, some pieces on both sides of our World Finals champions of last year, but also our MSI champions of this year. Z1 are pretty much setting the bar for what is the best that you can get at Brawl Stars, and they only up the ante every single month. These guys deserve every bit of respect that they've got, and look, even if they stumbled a little bit along the way, a win is a win. And those 3-2 matches, the 2-1 matches in the quarters and the semis, they don't seem to matter too much anymore, especially if you're able to get a 6-0 sweep versus Z0.
बात तो सही है।
Overall, some insane stuff. And even with only 2 kills and 2 deaths, you saw what he did with the goals. Great plays from Zeta Division 1.
क्या ही था ये भाई?
We have someone waiting for us on the sidelines today. It's great to have you back. Look, I gotta tell you, it's a whole lot of fun being a spectator too, so I
Copying Teddy.
enjoyed it. But still, what an amazing match. That was a very short break for you too, but an exhilarating one as well. Just really, really, really insane stuff throughout the day. Care to share your thoughts, man?
Sorry, ये होंठ थोड़ा बाहर निकल रहा था।
It was quick didn't really have time to do anything during my break, and it was like match point. Okay, let's get back to work, boys. It was really what it
भाई मेरा तो जबड़े दुखने लगेंगे
to say though. Today we had
खैर जो भी है
a bunch of very impressive plays and just really close matches too. I mean, the bottom side of the bracket was nothing
जी जी that was a good matches
till the end.
हालांकि फाइनल में वो फाइनल जैसा मजा नहीं आया कम से कम एक तो जीतना चाहिए था एक भी सेट नहीं जीते 0-3 से हरा दिया भाई
Picking up yet another.
छी 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 छी
Got a lot
नाक कटवा दी भाई बंदे
of the day that completely
खैर
stole our attention.
जो भी है
Some by the victors and some by the ones who are not able to claim the victory in the end as well. Really stole our attention. But Teddy, walk us through our play of the day.
It's one of the first ones of the day as well, but Tempo, I mean, he always delivers.
ना भाई अब मत दिखाओ हो गया हमारा मन भर गया मत दिखाओ नहीं देखना छी 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 चलो guys, this was it for this stream. I will see you guys in about 3 hours from now, most probably 3 hours from now, and we'll be playing Minecraft. There we'll be building some of the farms and obviously collecting some exclusive things there by mining, of course. So till we meet again, bye bye, take care and peace out, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you once again in few hours. Bye bye and enjoy your meals.